and how you can also benefit from the International Women's Day scholarship that we have to offer at 10Alytics. But before we get started and we dive into the main meat of our session today, I'd like to know where you're joining us from, okay? So just type into the chat. Let's know where you are joining from. If you're joining from Lagos, Nigeria, London in the UK, just type into the chat. Let's know where you are joining us from. Okay, so I'll start by sending mine. Okay, so Amina is joining from Abuja. Mr. Sam from Italy. Grace from Lagos, Nigeria. Jerry from Lagos, Nigeria. Abiodun from Scotland. I'm joining from Edmonton in Canada. Okay, so this is the beauty of having the opportunity to join virtual sessions. You get to interact with your contemporaries and other professionals across the globe. Pam is joining from Abuja. We have Insikak from Kano, Olukoya from Agodo. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. We're expecting more people to join. We have Jefferson from Kenya. You're welcome to the session today, Jefferson. I'll dive into the main meat of what we have. I'll do a little bit of introduction. And we have some amazing professionals, women who are breaking strides, who are breaking new grounds in the tech ecosystem. And I'm sure you'd love to hear from them. We have Ikmat, who was a beneficiary of the scholarship in 2023. Ikmat joined our program. She got the scholarship. She joined the program. And even before she completed her data analytics training, she was able to land a job with the NHS in the UK. And Ikmat is here with us today, here to share her experience and to also help as many more people to get into the tech ecosystem. So for those of you joining from Scotland, joining from the UK, joining from different areas across the globe, you'd benefit from what Ikmat has to share. We have another amazing professional, Ramat, who is a business analyst, also with the NHS. Ramat she's been a wonderful, fantastic professional, a woman in tech that you would all want to listen to. And they're all here with us today, and they'll be sharing their experience with us, all right? So just before I bring in Ramat and Ikmat to join us, I'll do a bit of introduction. Who are we at 10Alytics and what are we all about before we dive into the main meat of our session today? Okay, so if this is your first time of joining a 10Alytics event, either a masterclass or a paid class, whatever the case is, just type in a 1 into the chat. If this is your first ever 10Alytics event, just type in a 1 into the chat. Okay, so let's see who the newcomers are. And you're all welcome. Mr. Sam, Esther, Ifani, Margaret, Jerry. Fantastic. We have a lot of newcomers. That's absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so let's dive into the main meat of our session. All right, I'll share my slides and I'll drive the conversation using the slides. So if you have any colleague, a brother, a sister, any contemporary that you think can benefit from this, share the link with them. You are free to do that. Share the Zoom link and get them to join us today, because we would have a power-packed session and they will benefit and enjoy so much from the session today. Okay, good to have you all join us for the first timers. Just a bit of, I would say, housekeeping. You don't need to put on your videos so that you don't distract other people, all right? And if you have questions, just drop your questions in the chat. My colleagues would also be in the chat section and they'll take your questions from there. And of course, before the end of our session today, we'll have a Q&A. So for those of you that have questions for myself, that would have questions for the speakers, the guest speakers we have on board, you'd have the opportunity to do that, all right? Our session today would be for 2 hours, and I'll walk you through all the key areas, the discussion points, and the major focus of what the session would aim to achieve. But again, remember, the theme for this year's International Women's Day is inspiring inclusion. And what are we doing at 10Alytics to ensure that we have a high level of inclusion of women in tech across the globe? Who are we? And what is 10Alytics all about? 10Alytics is an educational technology company for those of you meeting us for the first time. And we are redefining the landscape for people of the Black community and Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora by providing premium tech education to help break the barriers of getting into the tech ecosystem. All right. And what we do is to design the best-in-class curriculum that will get you that job, get you equipped with all the skills that you need to break into the tech ecosystem. And we offer different programs across different areas, from data analytics to business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, HR analytics, and so on and so forth. And what gives us that edge is the quality of the curriculum and the quality of the facilitators that we bring to bear. We have the best of the best across the best organizations, from Apple to Google to McKinsey, PwC, and so on and so forth. And for those of you that are meeting me for the very first time, my name is Adeza Suleiman, and I'm the founder of 10Alytics. And I'm sure you saw the video playing at the beginning before we started our session today. And I'm the founder of 10Alytics, over a decade of years experience across the tech ecosystem. I started my career as a management consultant, but then I switched and pivoted into data analytics. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK, in the US, and I've also worked as a data analyst across multinationals in the sub-Saharan African region. And I've played around 5 different sectors, from energy to educational technology to financial services, and so on and so forth. And for us at 10Alytics, over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people land their very first jobs in the tech industry, from joining the classroom to getting their very first jobs in the tech ecosystem. All right. And that's what we are all about. And I'll share key strategies, key insights, but most importantly, you'll be listening to people that have done it. All right. They joined us last year, took advantage of the scholarship, and today they have jobs that have fully sponsored their visa in the UK. Ikmat will speak more about that. And you also have Ramat, who is a trailblazer in the tech ecosystem. Efemena is the co-founder of 10Alytics, and some of you would get to interact with Efemena, as for those of you that will be joining any of our programs. Efemena has led the data transformation in the post office in the UK. He's worked as a data analytics manager, as a business intelligence developer across the globe, working for some of the biggest and the best organizations in the UK, in the US, and also in Canada. Now, what are we looking to achieve today? Our session would cut across 3 key areas. And the first area would be on the IWD scholarship, the Women in Tech scholarship, and how this is important to inspire the inclusion of women in tech. All right. We'll also look at the different career path, because tech is very broad and there are so many areas to consider when transitioning into tech. But how do you select the best career path? And I'll walk you through that as well. And finally, we'll look at the upcoming program that we would be offering at 10Alytics, share some success stories, and also speak about the discounts available and the scholarship for the IWD, and those that will be taking advantage of that. Okay. All right. Just to confirm, Khadija, okay, I think we have Ramat. Okay, we have Ramat and Ikmat. All right. So we have Ramat and Ikmat on the call, but just like I said, before I bring them up to give us a bit of, not a bit, they're going to give us a whole lot, and we'll be learning a lot from them today. And I want you to come with your questions, because it's one thing to understand all the nitty-gritty of what you need to do to become a data analyst, all the tools and the skills that you need to learn. To become a business analyst, you know all the skills, the different areas you need to focus on, but it's a different ball game entirely when you get the job. All right. So how was the interview process? What exactly were you asked during the interviews? What's the day in the life of a business analyst? What does it look like? All right. Especially in an organization in one of the major economies like the UK and so on and so forth. So you have the opportunity to ask ICMAT and to also ask RAMAT. So you get some very salient points and valuable insights from the session today. The first question anybody would want to ask is, why are we giving scholarships, and why are we doing this? Okay, this is an initiative that we started last year in 2023. And this was published, Tech Cabal took it up and they published a report on 10Alytics offering scholarships to over 300 women. And you'd see, I left the link to the article for those of you that would like to go back to read the article and see how amazing that particular initiative was. So this was started in 2023, last year. And last year we had a total of 320 women, to be more specific. We aimed to give the scholarship to just 300 women, but we were oversubscribed and we had 320 eventually. And they've gone ahead to do amazing stuff within the tech ecosystem. All right. This time around in 2024, we are making it a little bit bigger and a little bit better. And how are we doing this? And one of the ways we are trying to do this is by providing not just the women. Of course, we have 300 women that we will give the scholarship to. And then we have 50 men. So this is a new addition for the year 2024. And people would ask the question, in the month of March on the 8th, which is the International Women's Day, if you would offer scholarship to women to inspire inclusion of more women in tech, then why are you giving the men? And I'll tell you why this is very important. The men currently today holds about 75% of the jobs in tech. 75% of the jobs in tech are currently occupied by men, meaning that you look at the COO role, you look at the CTO, the CIO, the major top level positions within the tech ecosystem, they are male dominated. You have very few representation of women across those job positions. And generally, even as you move down, in the lower rungs of the organization, you'd find out that women only occupy 25%. So men occupying the major leadership roles today also have a major role to play. They can serve as allies to the women, which of course can become mentors, to mentor more women, to serve as allies, and encourage more of them to get into the tech ecosystem. That's number one. Number two, they can also become what? Advocates. So just like what 10Alytics is doing today, all right? We started doing this last year to, play our own part and to also give our own quota in terms of getting more women into tech. So we believe that the men also have a fundamental role to play in being allies to these women and also being advocates for more women in tech. And that's why we've opened it up to 50 men to also be a part of the scholarship this year, 2024. And I'll dive a little bit deeper into that as we move on. All right. Now, I talked about the reason why we started this, and we did an analysis. We did a little bit of research in 2022, and we found out that the representation of women is just so appalling across the tech ecosystem, right? And according to Exploding Topics, who did a study across the industry, they got to find out that, like I said, about 25%, 26.7% of the roles in tech are only occupied by women. So it means that you would find at least 4 men before you find 1 woman, all right? And this gives a lot of reason for concern because you don't have that diversity in the organization. And there is an untapped talent of women across the tech ecosystem that we are really not taking advantage of. So we decided to come up with our initiative of giving scholarships to ensure that we are able to get more women into tech. And of course, you can see as the roles get higher, the representation of women also gets lower. So when you get to the leadership role, the C-suite levels, you hardly find women in those areas. And when you look at the startup ecosystem, it's highly male dominated, male founders, male co-founders, and so on and so forth. And part of the reasons is simply because as a man, you've come up with your own organization, you've started something, you've launched your company, you need a co-founder. A typical man or a guy would go get his friends or somebody very close to him. Probably they went to school together and so on and so forth. Okay, so by giving men the opportunity to become advocates, slowly and steadily, you would start to see the rise of more men getting more women into startup roles, getting them into co-founder roles, and so on and so forth. And that's what we want to achieve. All right. Another appalling you'd see representation of women in tech is over the last 2 years, even with so many work done and so many efforts across different areas, the percentage of women in the tech ecosystem has decreased over the last 2 years. And in closing this gap, this very wide gap, according to Women in Tech Network, it will take about 133 years to cover the economic gap, the gender gap, where you have some level of parity across the male and the female in the tech ecosystem. So 133 years, that's a very long time. But even though it's a very long time, the earlier we start, the faster we achieve, and we are able to bring the inclusion and bring a whole lot of diversity in so many organizations. So when people ask us, 10Alytics, why are you doing this? Why are you getting more women into tech? Why are you offering scholarship to women to get into tech? These are the reasons: to get more women into tech, ensuring that we are able to close this gap as fast as we can by playing our own little role in ensuring we're able to achieve this. And for the 2024, like I mentioned, we are doing a whole lot more in terms of getting more people and to also include a little bit of men who would serve as advocates and also allies to these women. And for 2024, just before I bring in our speakers today, we will be doing a lot better, making it a lot bigger, offering 50% scholarship to 300 women. All right? And also 50% scholarship to 50 men. And this is what we want to do in the year 2024. So how do you take advantage of this? And how do you get in? How do you latch into this opportunity and be a part of the recipient of this scholarship? Number one is 50% across all the programs that we offer, starting on the 6th of April. And I'll speak about this, but just to give you the highlights, all right? Ensuring that you are part of the first 300 women. Because what happened last year, what we saw a lot of people, which is, I would say, a typical human behavior towards the close of the scholarship. When you had a deadline, you had a rush of people trying to get in. Eventually, we extended from 300 to 320. Okay, but I would say that you want to be part of the first 300 to take advantage of the scholarship. And for the men, you want to be part of the first 50 men to also be a part of this scholarship. And essentially, your journey into tech would start on the 6th of April, 2024. So this is the way we have decided to execute the scholarship for 2024. And we are super excited. We are proud of the work we did in 2023 last year. And we are looking forward to doing a whole lot more in 2024. Now, let's go to one of the major highlights of our session today, which is bringing the recipients so you can also get to listen to them and learn from them as well. All right. You have Ikmat, who works with the NHS in the UK. And of course, for so many of you who also reside in the UK, what you typically get to hear, or the general, I would say, mentality is to get a carer job, or I want to work as a care worker, the only way you can get a sponsored visa is when you get a job as a carer, all right? However, that's not the case. And one of the major things we do is to open the door of opportunities to our participants, and they get to know that there are so many more opportunities. Rather than working as a carer with the NHS and so on and so forth, can I get a job as a data analyst, as a business analyst? And you get to hear from Ikmat, who was able to do this. Ikmat joined us last year, she joined our data analytics program, also a recipient of the IWD scholarship in 2023. And today, Ikmat is doing an amazing job. And I always tell people that I'm super proud of what Ikmat and Ramat are currently doing within the space. And this goes back to the goal and the mission of 10Alytics, to get more people, more Africans in the diaspora, more Africans in Africa, to get them into the tech ecosystem. So when I walk into the NHS across the UK, or I walk into Google, or I walk into the post office, or I walk into Co-op, I walk into Barclays Bank, I want to see people that look like me, working as data analysts, business analysts, HR analysts, and so on and so forth. So we're going to listen to Ikmat and Ramat, who also works with the NHS as a business analyst. Ramat also joined us last year, sometime around May, joined the business analysis program. And Ramat has not just completed the program, getting a job with the NHS. Ramat today also serves as a mentor for people who are also trying to navigate the space. So I'm going to call upon Ramat and Ikmat to come up, and let's get to hear from you. So Ramat, if you can turn on your video, and I'll just spotlight you so that we can get to learn a whole lot. I'm very eager to listen to you too, Ramat and Ikmat. Okay, I've seen Ramat. Okay, yes, I've seen Ikmat as well. So I'm just going to add the spotlights. Fantastic. Ikmat, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Brilliant,
Nice to be here again.
Yeah, nice to see you. Nice to have you join us again. Ramat, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's nice to be here again today.
Yeah, Ramat is a friend of the house. Ramat is always here. We're very used to Ramat. And I want to say a big thank you, Ramat, for always, jumping on a call and, sharing your experience to help more people get into the space as well. How is the weather in the UK today?
Yeah, today was fairly okay, not too cold. It
Okay.
was, I don't know the degree it was, but it wasn't too cold because I stepped out.
Okay. And how about you? How about
Very
you,
warm in my
Ikmat?
area. Actually very
Very
warm
warm.
in my area, surprisingly.
Sure.
Oh, really?
That's interesting. That's interesting. The weather is getting a bit better. I recently moved to Canada myself, so horrible, terrible cold, terrible weather, but I think it's getting a lot better these days. And I look forward
Oh,
to warmer weathers I think in about a week or 2 weeks to get a lot, better for us. So good to have you on board, Ikmat and Ramat. So just to get our session started, I would like to hear from you, Ramat. Let's get to know who you are. All right, do a brief introduction. How did you get into tech? And what do you currently do today? So we'll hear from Ramat and then we'll come back to Ikmat. So Ramat, over to you.
okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Ramat Adesola Bankole. My journey into tech started last year, almost a year now, because I didn't join Analytics until April. Until May, yeah. I was supposed to be amongst the people that benefited from the scholarship, but
Yeah.
he said something about rushing, but then I didn't get there eventually. But I was really determined to get into the space, so I paid after. So that's by the way. Um, I currently work as a business analyst for a trust here in the UK within NHS. I started with them in October. I didn't get to start until October because of some paperwork that had to be completed. So Yeah, it's been about 5 months with them now, and I must say that I've been enjoying my job with them. Before now, I used to work as a customer service for British Gas, customer service representative for British Gas. I really did not like what I was doing. Like, I didn't enjoy it. It was like the normal thing for me to like, I needed money to like sustain myself. That's why I was doing it at the time, but it wasn't something I was enjoying. I wanted to be more and I wanted to do more. And luckily for me, I heard about 10Alytics through my cousin at the time. And I attended one of their mentorship session and voila, I got in. And I must say that that was like the best decision I made for myself and for my career. Because if not for the decision I made at that time, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So all thanks to 10Alytics. Yeah, so that's that about me. Besides work and performing my duty as a wife and a mom, I like to travel. I like to explore. I like to try out new things. Yeah, so that's that about me.
Fantastic, brilliant. Ramat, from a customer service representative with British Gas, probably maybe if you had stayed on that role, would have gotten to interact at some point because British Gas was my service provider when I was in the UK. So,
Oh
and
yeah.
I had so many issues with them. I had so many
I wasn't
issues.
even I'm not with them at the moment because
Yeah.
no.
I can imagine. So
Speaking
thanks
of
a lot for
issues,
that. Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Ramat. Fantastic journey. Customer service rep, currently working as a business analyst in the UK, deciding to take your destiny in your hands, literally, because you wanted to do more, like you said, you wanted to make more money, earn more in the UK, and get into a career path where you have career progression and you can easily also transfer your skills to other organizations if you decide to move eventually. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Ramat. Ikmat, let's get to hear from you. Brief introduction. Who is Ikmat?
Hi, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Okay. My name is Ikmat Akinyoyi, and I came into the UK as a student last year. Oh, sorry, in 2022. Yeah, so October 2022. And then the reason I signed up for the 10Alytics program was because my visa depended on it. So, the rush for COS is crazy. And actually, I didn't want to do something that would keep me away from my children as well. And then I came from a background of full housewife. So I wasn't working back in Nigeria because when I had my child, I wanted to stay home and look after her myself. My husband was working outside the home full time, so somebody had to stay back. And then when we moved down here, converting naira to pounds was not cheap. So I thought of, okay, what can I do? And then I was studying public health. And then I thought, okay, how can I put this into tech? Or how can I infuse both of these things together? And I saw the 10Alytics, and then they were doing the IWD discounts. I'm like, oh, this money is not more true. If this thing can actually work for me, it's going to go a long way. And I actually like it. It's good to be working in a tech for good space in the NHS. And I thought about the possibility, and all those things. And okay, if it actually works, it's going to be making a lot of sense. And then I decided to register in March. So I joined the cohort in March. And then I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I did my master's in public health. I currently work in the NHS as a data analyst. I work in the performance team. And then I actually got my job in September, the month I was supposed to, I graduated. But I started in January because I wanted my son to clock 1. Because, mom guilt, I wasn't ready to leave him yet, even though my job is very flexible. And then another reason I wanted the tech space was because of this flexibility, actually. Being home with my children means a lot to me. And then being able to get money as well, having the career progression, being a person of my own while being a mom and a wife. So those 3 things are really important to me. So that was why I joined 10Alytics. And then I'm grateful that I took the decision. I'm grateful that I took the step to actually join. So that's me in a nutshell. An information analyst, a wife, a mom, and a human being, yes.
Fantastic, brilliant. Your story always inspires me, to be very honest, Ikmat. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal what you've been able to achieve over a very short period of time. And like you said, you had a very clear goal on what you want to achieve. And here you are today working with the NHS and the performance team and helping them do amazing stuff. All right. Now, before you join, people have considerations, okay? Different considerations on what to do, what to consider before they start. I think I need to get my glasses. If you could give me give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Let me try to get my glasses. I keep on having these issues. But let's take your question, then I'll go get my glasses while you answer Ikmat, and then I'll come back to Ramat. So Ikmat, you had a lot of considerations, okay? You had your COS, you needed to get sponsorship so you could apply and transition into a tier 2 work visa and so on and so forth. All right. Now, apart from that, what made you choose the career path that you chose as a data analyst? I'm sure you considered so many things before choosing your career in tech. So can you share just a little bit? What did you consider? What were the considerations before you decided to select that particular program? And then we'll come back to Ramat.
Okay, so first thing first, I like numbers. I studied chemistry in my undergrad, and we dealt with numbers and a lot of chemical stuff. So, and then while I was in my public health program as well, we dealt with numbers as well. So I really like numbers. And then when I went through the programs and everything, I saw business analysis, data analytics, and the other things. And I thought, okay, data analytics for data analysis. If it fits well into something I really wanted to grow in. And then I was currently doing my master's in public health, and I thought of, okay, how can I infuse these two things together? I wanted to work in the public health space, but I didn't want to do the clinical role or a role that will take all my time, right? So I needed time for my family. I needed something that would give me the flexibility. And then I needed something that always task my brain, something that will always make me make recommendation, and in a space that will allow me help people as well. And I'm so glad that I'm an information analyst in a performance team. I work with children. So it's something that gives me a lot of joy. Like every day I get to go to work, even though I don't help these people face to face or personally, but I know that whatever I get to do at my desk reaches somebody, and it goes a long way for me. So that's why I said the other time, it's a tech for good space. So I work in tech for good. So it's something that I thought about the first time I saw 10Alytics and data analysis, and I'm like, okay, if this can work the way I thought of it in my head, it's going to go a long way for me. And I can tell you, for every interview I had, I always mentioned tech for good because I faced the NHS head on. I wanted NHS, and yes, I'm grateful to God that I actually got what I wanted. So I loved numbers, and then it was going well with my plan from the onset, and everything worked well together. So basically that's why I chose data analysis.
Absolutely fantastic. And like I always tell people, in terms of being able to transfer your skills as a data analyst into any other career path, it can happen, and it can happen seamlessly as long as you know exactly what you want to achieve. My first degree was also in industrial chemistry. All right, so very similar to your own, I would say, trajectory as well, Ikmat. I studied industrial chemistry. I worked in financial services, and then I moved into energy. All right. So what stood out for me, and what were the key factors that ensured I succeeded in those roles? My skills as a data analyst remained the same. All right. Excel that you would apply as a financial analyst is the same Excel you would apply in the NHS. The difference is the outcome. What are you trying to achieve? What are the different recommendations you're trying to give as well? So absolutely fantastic for that, Ikmat. Ramat, let's move over to you. So what were your considerations when choosing the business analysis program with 10Alytics?
Okay, like I said, first of all, I had motivation because I didn't want to continue doing what I was doing. That was number one. And I studied economics in school. And before I got to the UK, I used to run a business, like a very small business. So studying economics, I knew like my way into business and everything, because there's like a relationship when it comes to solving problems, when it comes to user behaviors and all of those things. So I kind of had an experience with business, but I didn't know anything like business analyst existed in Nigeria. I haven't heard, to be very honest, I didn't hear about business analysts in Nigeria. What I would rather hear is product ownership and all of that. So on getting here, I had to make my research. I went on LinkedIn. I had to start to look out for job opportunities that are available in the UK, aside from the customer service role and all of that, things that I could use my existing skills to where I could work with my existing skills, just so to say. So I realized that business analyst is sort of in demand. The demand for it is very high. When I like looked through what the whole business analysis entail, just like basic knowledge, I felt like it was something I could do, leveraging my skills, my basic skills, of course, but I knew that I still needed something to brush up. And that was when I stumbled on 10Alytics, and luckily the whole 10Alytics package for business analysts was really packed. It wasn't just on the business analysis side, but we got into the technical aspect too when it got to Excel, SQL, and all of the like. So it was really something I wanted, was exactly what I was looking for. Because making my research, the job descriptions and all of those things, they will tell you that you need to have like a bit of Excel skill, SQL skills and everything. So 10Alytics kind of packaged everything in a go. I was left with no choice but to just sign up, since I knew it was what I wanted. So leveraging my skills, my basic skills with the ones 10Alytics equipped me with, landed me the job, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Absolutely phenomenal. Thanks a lot for that, Ramat. I think for those of you that are listening, it's very important that you take down some notes. All right. I'm taking notes as well. And the reason why I say this is simple, and that's because, like I said at the beginning, for somebody like Ramat, for somebody like Ikmat, they are not just getting into the space. They have done it, they have gotten into the space, they have gotten some level of experience, and then they are sharing that experience with you today. And there's so many misconceptions. And as we try, as 10Alytics, we try to dispel and demystify some of those myths and misconceptions. You know, some people would still argue. And I would say, with all due respect, argue blindly, because it's a different ballgame when you have experience in a particular area and when you are just listening to what other people say. There are two distinct levels. Now, there's some misconceptions you'd find across the tech ecosystem. Some people will tell you that, oh, you need to have UK work experience, you need to have Canadian experience. If you are at a particular age, you cannot get a job. If you don't have this particular certification, you can't get a job, and so on and so forth. Now, what has been your experience with these misconceptions? Were they particular about your certifications? Let's start with you, Ikmat. Were they particular about your certifications? Were they particular about your age? Were they particular about you having UK work experience before you got hired? Or this was you, a Nigerian who had moved to the UK, started a master's, and you were able to sell yourself during the interview. So I want you to walk us through that journey in terms of dispelling some of these misconceptions. Because coming from you that got a job last year, which is pretty much very recent, I think it would also educate us to have an insight into what the process looks like. So let's hear from you, Ikmat, with regards to the misconceptions.
Thank you very much, Adeva. Okay. So the journey for me started 1 month into the program. And whenever I tell people this, they're always surprised, because I got my first job 1 month into the program. I had not even finished the program. Immediately, the Excel classes finished. I started applying immediately. And then I always look out for jobs that were willing to train me. I didn't go for the big ones, although we're always encouraged to go for the big ones here, but I wouldn't lie, I was really scared because I don't want to, go there and then fumble. But I was totally surprised when I actually got the job. I got the call the next day I went for the interview. It was a face-to-face and I was shocked, like, really, is that it? And there was no UK experience. There was no, I had, like I said, I came from a full housewife background, right? I wasn't working back home because of my family. So all I had to do was sell myself during the interview. And then the mentorship sessions the 10Alytics gave was so good. I was just spitting fire. Sorry for my language, because I was so confident. It was as if I'd been in the space for years. I was describing and talking like I've been doing it. I've been doing this thing. This is how to do this. I even mentioned tools they don't use so that they can understand that, okay, I may not know how to use your tools, but I know how to do this in case you want me to teach you. So, and then that was what got me the job. So the misconception, no, you don't have to have experience in the UK. You don't have to have certifications. When I was submitting all my certifications with the NHS, I finally chose. They didn't ask for my master's. They didn't ask for my data. In fact, my certificate is still with 10Alytics. Still, I've not given this. I've not collected it. I was not required to submit any of those. In my supporting information, if you are familiar with NHS, they are like a CV. You don't have to submit a CV. You have to write a supporting information. I just demonstrated that if you pick me, I'm the perfect person for this job. I was able to demonstrate that perfectly, by picking each of the questions they were asking and then throwing in the answer they were looking for. So that really went a long way. Just be able to sell yourself. Don't be afraid. Just do it. Make sure you do it with confidence, really. And then also be able to defend whatever you're saying. It doesn't have to be, okay, you're just talking. In case they give you a test, even if you don't get 100%, 70% will take you there. Just make sure you know what you're talking about as well. So the misconception, no, you don't have to have everything. You don't need to have, I've not used my master's as you're speaking. If I want to use my master's, I would want to move to a higher band, a higher level you get. So I'm still using my BSc certificates and that's it. The interview process was really seamless. It was just, for the current role I'm doing, it was just one interview. I got the call 2 days later that I've been recruited, and I threw it after the lady finished talking. I said, "Are you willing to sponsor my visa? I'm going to do this for you." I sold myself more, and then she was like, "Okay, she's going to get back to me on that as well." So yeah, you don't have to have everything. You don't have to know everything. Just be willing to learn and demonstrate that you're willing to learn. That's it.
All right, absolutely fantastic, brilliant. Thanks for that, Ikmat. Again, this is what you talked about, the mentorship and how useful the mentorship was for you. And for us, some of the things we try to pack into the mentorship is exactly what you said. I have never had to use my master's. I have a master's, but nobody cares about your master's because I always tell people this, it's a paper certification, right? Today, you have people writing certification exams for other people. Unfortunately, it happens. So the recruiters are also aware, all right? And that's why they are more skill-based, okay? Tell me that you've done this before based on the questions they ask you. And that's why you see that the competency-based questions are a lot more weighty. They are weightier than the other questions where you get to tell them, you mentioned even some tools that they don't have or they haven't even asked you, but you mentioned that so that they know that, okay, you have that, somewhere, and you can also speak to that if required. So that's absolutely phenomenal. And we always tell people to, sometimes the UK experience, the Canadian work experience that people bandy around and say that that's the reason why they did not get a job is as simple as you knowing that you're having small talks in the office. In the UK, for example, you get into the office, you want people will ask you, oh, how is the weather? How is this? How is that? And that's how you start a conversation, small talk. Okay, so sometimes that's all the experience you need, just being a part of the culture, understanding, their mannerisms and things like that. But in terms of you having the experience and skills you gain from the project and the things that you've done, most of the time is 100% enough for you to get a job. So I would also like to hear from you, Ikmat, after Ramat has, told us her own misconceptions that she eventually got to find out if these misconceptions actually exist or they don't. And you tell us a bit more about the mentorship, since you said it was really value adding to you. All right. So Ramat, age, you look pretty young. I'm not sure. I don't know how old you are, but you look young. Is age an issue? Is UK work experience, certifications, and all of that? Was that, did that play a major factor in you landing a job with the NHS? Let's get to hear from you. Because some people who are trying to start, they are held back because they see the requirements of some roles and they feel that I can never get into this job, and they don't even bother to start. So what's been your experience? Let's hear from you.
The short answer is no. I didn't have any misconception. There are no misconceptions. And luckily, the UK, probably NHS, the rule against discrimination, they really take discrimination very important. So things like that you would not find most times in terms of age, in terms of probably gender bias kind of thing, you wouldn't find within NHS, and I think in UK in general. So similar to Ikma's stories, Ikma's story rather, I like to put out my story so that people can always draw reference from it. I got my job. The first application I did, the first application I worked on was the one I got. And that's 1 month or 2 months into the whole 10Alytics thing. We haven't even started the internship when I did that, when I filled in the application. So it took about a month for them to get back to me. So it was at the time we were rounding up that I got to finalize with them. So it is possible, unlike the usual story of I've applied. It is possible, you can get it instantly, you can get it immediately. So what 10Alytics does is really, really extraordinary because they train you to get it. They train you to have it. I was in a mentorship session one day with Ifemina, and it mentioned that you don't have to wait until the end of the program. You can start to apply now. And that was the sentence I picked up, and I began immediately. I leveraged what's the name, ChatGPT to revamp my CV. I tidied up everything. I didn't even know shit about business analytics yet. Remember, I started 1 month into the whole thing. So I just did Google search plus the ones they've taught us basic plus AI and everything. I just had to just package everything together because I know what I wanted, and I had a deadline for myself, most importantly, and I had a drive for myself. I knew what I wanted, and at the time I wanted it. So that I kept that at the back of my mind, that was what kept pushing me. So when I did that, and then I got the interview and everything, I didn't know what was next. That was when the imposter syndrome set in big time. I was like, why did they call me? Are they sure that it is me they were supposed to call back? Things like that, started setting in. But with the help of analytics, the facilitator I had at the time was superb. We did the preparation for the interview as though we were in the interview. That's the package that they put together with the whole thing. I did the mock preparation with him. He helped me because I was supposed to do a presentation and all of that. The facilitator helped me through with the presentation to the extent that he told me to dress like I was in the interview. It was a virtual thing. It was make sure you're ready physically and mentally. And then I did it, and then I got back to the interview and I smashed it. It wasn't me. So just so to say, it was 10Alytics because I had no idea of what I was doing. Even when I got into the job, I was still with 10Alytics now come and help me inside this job. What have I done? What have I done? But trust me, that's the picture you paint in your head. It's much easier when you get in because first of all, they train you. You go through series of training. As long as you can ask questions and you know what you're doing, you'll be fine. But getting in is the big deal, which 10Alytics helps you with. And that's like how mine went. No misconceptions. You don't have to have the whole world. You don't have to have the whole experience. That's it.
Thanks a lot for that, Ikmat. I think you are very direct in, explaining to people. And I always tell people the same. If I look at the job requirements and my profile at the time I also transitioned into becoming a data analyst, it's a mismatch, total mismatch in terms of my profile and the job, because I did not meet most of the requirements. All right. They needed somebody that had heaven and earth. I had a couple of skills. I knew Excel, I knew Power BI, I knew SQL at that time. But I ensured that the skills I had, I knew them very, very well. So that during the interview, when those questions came up, I answered them so well that they didn't even bother to ask questions around the other areas that I might not have very good knowledge on. So thanks for that, Ramat. And the fact that the interview preparation is also very, very important, because imagine you walking into a room that you've never been before. You are moving into a new career path. You've not done the job in real life as a business analyst. And then you'll be asked questions around how you'd help the NHS achieve its objectives as a business analyst. You can imagine how daunting it can be if you don't have somebody to walk you through. And that's what the interview preparation does for you eventually. So you also talked about the mentorship, Ikmat, and how valuable, or how value-adding it was to you. Do you just want to walk us through some of the ways 10Alytics helped you in preparing to get this job, including the mentorship that you mentioned?
Yes. Every time I get an interview invite, I always mention it to my facilitator, and I always book interview sessions, because that with 10Alytics provided that as well. So, and it went a long way. Like, the interview sessions were always as if they knew what they were going to ask, like the exact questions, it was always like magic to me every time, because after I got my first job 1 month into the program, I couldn't take up the job because I was still a student and I could only do 20 hours, and they were looking for someone that could start full-time immediately. So I had to decline the offer. So then another game started. I started applying again. And then that was a long period from, I think, around, that was like June to September. So I got so many unfortunate leads after the first offer. And then after the plenty unfortunate leads, I got 2 more offers after them. And then the mentorship sessions kept me going, because they were always, saying the right things to help you feel better. Whenever you're feeling the imposter syndrome, feeling like you're scared, feeling like you can't do it. Oh, the salary is too much. Oh, the experience I have is too small for this kind of salary. A female will always tell you, don't sell yourself short. And it is true. Always be confident. Just make sure you can defend whatever it is. Hone your skills. That's just it. And then the mentorship session, like I always say to anybody that asks me, it really pushed me out there. It really helped me, because whenever I look at the job description and then I see that, okay, I can do like 70% of all this, let me apply, and then we can defend it. You don't have to know everything 100%. They will always train you. That's just the fact. They will always train you. Just be able to defend most of it. That's just it. And then the other questions that usually come up, and then 10Alytics also told us how to answer questions, the STAR approach, SIT approach, by you use to introduce yourself, and then how to use compelling stories to answer questions, throwing it back to your work experience. Oh, they really helped. They went a long way. And then there's this trick, I don't know whether to call it trick, having 5 good stories at the back of your mind, understanding those stories, and then using those stories to answer every question, or each question through natural. That really helped me. I just have, whenever I have an interview, I prepare 5 projects, and then I have it like a story using the STAR approach. So whenever they ask me a question, I just pick up one of them, and that really went a long way. And then for me, the mentorship session, just don't miss it if you decide to register for this program. It's very important. Very, very important.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Ikmat. Absolutely phenomenal. And again, a lot of people look for mentors. All right. Who are the people that have done this before that can also hold my hands to doing it? And we have seen that the mentorship is a platform to get as many people on board, getting them to transition, because the gap between what you currently do and where you want to be is a very wide gap. But if you have a mentor, that gap is covered, largely, and it's easier for you to easily transition into that particular role. Like you said, a lot of the questions that you had during the interviews, you had prepared for them. And the trick about the 5 stories, having 5 compelling stories, is something that we designed this out of experience, okay? So when you get into an interview, even if the interview is for 1 hour, the interviewers would want to understand the depth of the skills you have. And having been on interview panels myself, interviewing candidates, to understand if a candidate has shallow knowledge, you'd ask questions, or tell me about a time you have solved a problem using any data analytic tool. Maybe the person will talk about Excel or talk about Power BI, but then they mention one particular project. You ask them another question that is a little bit different from that, expecting that they'll talk about another project, but they still talk about that same project. So when you find a candidate talking about one particular experience, one particular project, it shows you that this person is a beginner, this person is a starter, they've really not done much, all right? And that's why you want to have 5 stories, 5 projects that you have, within your tool, within your bag. And when they ask you a question, you bring out one, use the STAR approach, sell it to them. They ask you another question, you bring the other story, sell it to them. And before they are done asking you questions, you would have probably gone through 4 different, compelling experience with them. And that shows the interviewer that you have the skills to get into this particular career path and that you've done it before and you can do it again if necessary. All right. So thanks for that, Ikmat. And of course, I'm sure a lot of people are learning from the session today. And there are so many people that want to get started. But like I always tell people, taking that first step is always the most difficult step. Okay. So maybe today I'm currently an accountant or I'm currently in procurement, but I want to become a data analyst or a data engineer or a financial analyst or a business analyst. Taking that first step to start is the most difficult step. And one of the things the scholarship will do is to accelerate people to take the decision. So now you have a 50% discount to get started. All right. So in your own words, Ikmat, as we round off our session today, I want you to, what words do you have? All right. What advice do you have for aspiring females who would want to get started in tech? Okay. So they have one advantage, which is a scholarship they can take advantage of. All right. So that's one. So what other, advice would you have for them? Any lady, any woman currently on this call who would want to take advantage of the scholarship, what would you want to say to them?
My advice to all the women out there who would want to take advantage of the scholarship is, please grab it. Just grab it. Grab it with both hands, because it really helped me. It actually changed my life, because I've always wanted a career that would sink well into my family. And I didn't want to have to give up one for the other. They always say you can't have it all. Oh, no, it's a lie. You can have a career, you can have a family, you can have your life, as a woman. So yes, you can have it all. Because where I currently work, I work with the most amazing team in the world. Because whenever I need to go to my child's school and then I need some time, I just need to tell my line manager, and then it's really flexible. I can decide to work, I work 7 hours a day. I can decide to work 8 hours today or 9 hours. Then tomorrow I can instead of 7 hours, I can shift it down to 5 hours because I've overworked yesterday. So my time is really flexible. I can adjust it the way I want. If I have plans for tomorrow, today, I can use today's work to cover up for tomorrow's work, you get. So it's, for me, coming from the family perspective, I just wanted something that would allow me make money and still be with my family. So I just wanted the flexibility while also contributing to the society, you get. So please, it's a very great opportunity as a woman. And then for those who are not in the family setting, it is also good for a great career progression. If you want something that will allow you to live anywhere in the world, yes, that's another advantage. You can work from anywhere in the world as well. You can decide to move because whatever skill you have, it's in you. It is yours. It can take you anywhere, wherever you want to go in the world. So, and it's yours. Nobody can take it away from you. So even if you don't want to use it now, you would always have, and then all the lessons are kept in the Google Classroom. You can always come back to them. Even if you don't want to use them immediately, you can always go back and refresh, go back to your books. It's always there for you. Everything belongs to you. So the scholarship is a really, really good advantage. And then half the price, 50%. Yeah, that's a very big one. So just the flexibility for me, it's a very big deal as a family person. Just take advantage of it. Grab it if you can. It's going to take you a long way.
All right, thanks for that fantastic submission, Ramat.
Um,
Ikmat,
Adeze,
Ramat, yes.
yeah, I'm still here, sorry, but I can't come on video again because I'm
Okay.
kind of doing more meetings at the moment.
Oh,
But
that's fine. That's totally fine.
yeah,
That's
but
totally
I'll just like to come in there as well and just give my 2 cents as
all right.
to
Go ahead.
yeah. So as a woman looking to like go into tech, my advice is just for you to grab the opportunity like really fast. I didn't have the opportunity of the scholarship at the time because I was still contemplating. I was thinking if it was something I should do or not do. But I made up my mind after, which is absolutely fine. But it is time we begin to realize that we are the table. Don't let anybody start questioning you what you bring to the table as a woman. You're the goddamn table. So it's time to grab the bull by the horn and do the things that you're supposed to do. This, if you're here now, you know what is driving you. Either you want more money, either you're bored of doing what you're currently doing, either you want a career advancement, you know your driving factor. Grab the bull by the horn and just go for it. You are the table. Just do it. So I have this sticker in front of my screen, like on my wall. Just do it. Anytime I begin to feel like some kind of way, trying to limit myself, having just all these negative thoughts, imposter syndrome, I have that a lot of time. I just look up and I just see, just do it, and I just do it. So this is something I just want to push out there. Just do it. You are the table. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. I love that, Ramat. I really, really love that. And I think that would gear a whole lot of people to get started. All right. So what you bring to the table, I'm the table. Okay. And you get everything you need to actually show that you're at the table. You get that done, taking advantage of the discounts, taking advantage of the scholarship, and you start your journey. Good enough. Ramat was not able to latch into the scholarship, but she joined a month after, and she still had a phenomenal, fantastic outcome. And she's here to share her story with you. And Ramat is also one of our body mentors. We call them body mentors. And these mentors are people that have done the same thing you are trying to do. So for those of you that will be joining the business analysis cohort, you'll have the opportunity to interact with Ramat. Okay, so you have specific questions that you can ask. Okay, Ramat, what about this? What do you think about that? And should also have some sessions to show you that, look, you can also do the same. Most of the time, that's all what we need. Those mentorship sessions, that's all you need. Somebody to push you and tell you that you can do it. Don't wait until you are done. Start applying today. Okay, start applying today, because most of the time, the skills you need to get the job, you already have them, but you just feel that I don't have enough, I'm inadequate, I don't think I can actually get this job. Everybody has been there. I've been there myself. But one thing I always tell myself is, worst case is they tell me no. All right, that's the worst that'll happen. I'll get a rejection, but I'll go ahead and apply and I'll see what happens. And that was how I got into tech myself about 10 years ago. And again, all these experience are the things we want to share to people, share with people, so they can also get their journey started. It's been a
Adisa, let me
fantastic.
just say one thing before I go.
Yes.
What you just said
Yeah.
is something I just like to
Yeah.
rephrase when people say it. Like, instead of thinking about what's the worst that can happen, always think about what's the best that can happen. If you're continuously thinking, okay, what's the worst that can happen, you derail your thoughts, you drift towards the negative side of things. But once you begin to think of the best that can happen, you see yourself drifting towards the positive side of things. So always ask that question, what's the best that can happen? Yeah.
Totally agree, 100%. What's the best? So it's the glass half empty or the glass half full, depending on your type of person, and that's definitely works perfectly well. Thanks for that, Ramat. And again, it's always a fantastic time having the both of you, Ikmat. I want to say a very big thank you joining us today, sharing your experience. All right, and we are super proud of you, Ikmat. Super proud of you, Ramat. I sing your story everywhere. I had an Instagram live session that was on Thursday. I talked about the both of you. So if you go on Instagram and you listen to that live session, I spoke about the both of you. So we are super proud of the work you're doing and also helping more people, more women most especially, to transition. So we still have I would say about 40 plus minutes to end the session, but I'll let you go, Ramat and Ikmat, so I don't keep you here until the end. But if you want to stay, it's totally fine. And I'm sure people would have questions. But let's take one question before you leave. I think Esther has a question. All right. So Esther, is your question for Ikmat and Ramat, or Ikmat or Ramat? So if you have your question, Esther, I'm going to allow you unmute yourself. So go ahead and ask your question just before Ikmat and Ramat leaves.
Good evening. Good evening, all.
Good evening, Esther. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Please, my question, I don't really think it's for the women. I think it's for the house. So I just want to ask about the scholarship. When the deadline for the scholarship? That's what I want to ask.
Okay, absolutely. I'll talk about that. All right. I'll
Okay,
talk
okay,
about that
okay.
in the next few minutes. Okay.
All right, thank
So
you.
you're welcome. We have about 40 plus minutes and then we wrap up our session for today. All right. So Ikmat, Ramat, one more time. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend. And I hope you'd also, listen to us when next we call upon you, because our body mentorship is something that we started this year. And the importance of mentorship cannot be overemphasized, all right? Because you have people that would slow down, they would feel that they can't do it, or what exactly do I need to do when I get on the job? But you guys are there. You just done what people are trying to do. And people would need to look up to you to help them, hold their hands and, guide them through the journey as well. So we'll call upon you, no doubt about it, as time goes on. So thank you very much, Ramat. Thank you very much, Ikmat. And do have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you. Thank you for
Pleasure.
having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. So that's Ikmat and Ramat. Fantastic, fantastic ladies. And like I said before we started, Ikmat, she took advantage of the scholarship last year, and you heard all the things she had to say. Currently works as a data analyst in the performance department with the NHS, helping to churn out analysis to help children and understand, give recommendations on what needs to be done in the NHS to help children. So she called it Data for Good, Data for Good, and that's absolutely phenomenal. Ramat, moving from a customer service representative to a business analyst. She didn't have everything figured out before she started, but she was able to join the program, started to apply to jobs. One thing that was common among the both of them was they did not wait until the end of their program before they started to apply to jobs. And that is one of our major strong points. We don't want you to wait for 3 months or 4 months after you're done with your training before you start to apply to jobs. No, most of the time, the skills you would have gained 2 months into the program, a month into the program is enough for you to start to apply to those jobs. All right. So what I'll do in the next 40 minutes is to talk about the scholarship, what the full amount is, what the 50% is, what the criteria for being a part of the scholarship as well. And also, Rama talked about mentorship. Ikmat talked about internship, mentorship, and so on and so forth. I'd also be highlighting those areas because it's not just the technical skills that will get you the job. You need a lot more than that. They talked about the interview preparation. So how do you prepare for interviews? How do you know the right questions, the right answers when you're faced with a particular question? How do you prepare 5 stories that Ikmat mentioned? All right, 5 stories. And what are these stories? And these are the projects you would have prepared and created stories out of them using something we refer to as the STAR approach. All right, which is an approach for answering competency-based questions. Okay, I'll talk about that shortly. So that's what we have for the next 40 minutes. All right, so just sit back, relax. Let's have an amazing time. And if you have any questions at the end of the 40 minutes, I'll take questions from you and then we call it a day. So I'll go back to sharing my slides and then would, talk about the other programs, talk about all the programs we offer at 10Alytics and also how you can be a part of it. All right. Now, remember one thing, okay? I want you to put something at the back of your mind. Tech is very broad. Is a very, very broad area. You have different areas in tech, but how do you then select a particular area that you want to get into? And that's what we have done to ease that friction for you. Because people would ask questions, oh, can I get into UI UX? Can I do this? Can I do that? Ramat also talked about product management, which is a career path she had always heard about, but she wasn't very sure, what it takes. She didn't even know about business analysis. And today she works as a business analyst in the UK, just about a month after she had started our program with us. So what we've done is we've done a whole lot of analysis and research to identify the areas in the tech ecosystem that will get you your first job, meaning that these jobs are very high in demand across the globe. You are in the US, you are in Nigeria, you're in Canada, you're in the UK, you're somewhere across Europe. These career paths will get you into the tech ecosystem. And there are 8 of them, all right? You have the business analysis, which is, sorry about that, which is what Ramat does, right? Ramat is a business analyst for the NHS. You have data analytics. Ikmat is a data analyst also with the NHS, all right? You have financial analytics, HR analytics, full stack data science, Scrum Master, data engineering, and cybersecurity. And these are the 8 career paths that if you decide to get into any of these career paths, number 1, they are easy to learn and easy to transition. And when I say easy to learn, I don't mean that you sleep and it all happens overnight. No. Easy to learn in the sense that it takes you about 3 to 4 months for you to get into this career path. All right. Number 2, they are very high in demand, making them easy to transition. So it doesn't matter what you do. You're a banker or you were a banker back in Nigeria and you want to transition into the tech ecosystem. These are career paths that will get to your first job. You heard about Ramat, customer service representative. Today, she works as a business analyst. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom, full-time housewife. Today, she's a data analyst with the NHS. You heard from them yourselves, all right? So these are the career paths, the 8 of them. And the salaries are also phenomenal in terms of the average salary you can get, because you don't want to get a job because you can learn within the space of 4 months. But then you ask yourself the question, how will I be remunerated? Will I get something that would be, I would say, good enough within that particular economy? And we looked at the 3 major economies in the UK, in Canada, and in the US, depending on where you are, all right? And even in Africa as well. These are the career paths that will give you the fantastic average salaries across. As a data analyst in the UK, for example, you're looking at about £40,000 per annum. On the average. As a business analyst, you're looking at about £52,000 per annum on the average. As a financial analyst, about 51,000, and so on and so forth. So the salaries are also phenomenal. And one thing you would hear Ramat and Hikmat speak about is the flexibility of the work, of the job. In the last 3 years, I've never been to an office. All right. You heard Hikmat as well. Working hybrid, you don't have to be in the office every day, because you can do your job as a data analyst or as a business analyst working remotely. All right. So the flexibility is also very phenomenal. And this, having a career path where there's a progression, you can see that this is the next level for me. It makes things a lot easier. And it is high time that we start to look at ourselves as people of the Black community, taking advantage of the best possible jobs available in these regions, okay? And you'd see somebody like Ramat tell you that, look, don't let anybody ask you what you bring to the table. You are actually the table. And this goes out to the women out there, all right? So you need to take that step to get your journey started. One other thing that makes our program stand out exceptionally is the internship. All the programs come with internship. And what does the internship do for you? It gives you the opportunity to work on a real world project that is also cross-functional. Cross-functional in the sense that as a data analyst, if you register for our data analytics program, you'd collaborate with the business analyst, you'd collaborate with a data engineer, with a data scientist, and so on and so forth. So it's a collaboratory experience for you, and it gives you that cross-functional experience that recruiters would want to get from you. And that's what the internship is all about. So the internship is between 1 to 2 months, depending on the program that you want to join, because recruiters also want to ensure that you have done the job before, you have the experience, you understand the tools depending on the career path you have selected. And they would ask you questions to test that. And this is where the internship also, proves very, very helpful. Hikmat said a lot of things about how the mentorship helped her a whole lot and how she was able to structure her answers to questions because she had prepared. Ramat talked about the fact that the person that helped her prepare for her interview, Tammy, they simulated a real-life interview experience where she was advised to even dress formally, just like it were a real interview, okay? Just to prepare herself mentally for that particular experience. And these are the ingredients that have made 10Alytics so successful in helping our participants to get jobs. And like I mentioned at the beginning, over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people to transition from the classroom into getting their first jobs, just like Ramat and Hikmat. So we have a track record of success along that line because of all these different initiatives and ingredients embedded in all the programs that you get to join. Number 2, you work with the best facilitators in the business, and you have a curriculum that is also fit for the industry that you participate in. I have experience in the UK. I've worked in the UK. I know what is obtainable. Same with the co-founder of 10Alytics, Femena. So you're not going to get experience. You're not going to get experience from people that have probably watched the video somewhere and so on. No, you are getting knowledge and experience from people that have done it before. All right. And they know what is obtainable. And I'll give you a very typical example. One of the things we added to all our programs is ChatGPT for analytics. So as a business analyst, you will learn ChatGPT. As a data analyst, you will learn ChatGPT. As a financial analyst, as a HR analyst, as a data engineer, as a data scientist, you learn ChatGPT. The question is why? Now, if you look at the Canada job market, you look at the UK job market, as a case in point, organizations today are recruiting people that have very good understanding of prompt engineering. All right, prompt engineering. Okay, so now you have the skill as a data scientist. You can build machine learning models, correct? But if you couple that with prompt engineering skills, which is simply knowing the right type of prompts to enter into ChatGPT to get the right type of results, I can maximize your skills by over 1,000%. Because you already have the fundamentals as a data scientist. You can then write brilliant prompts to help ChatGPT do a whole lot more for you. And recruiters are currently hiring for people that have this experience. And that's why we have embedded ChatGPT into our curriculum. Of course, we also have a blended learning approach where you don't have to come to class every single day. All right. You heard Ikmat where she talked about all your learning materials being in the classroom, and you can always go back to that classroom as a reference to watch those videos and do all of those things. And lastly, the tailored sessions to help you land your job. And this is where I'll double down a little bit and I'll speak about the mentorship session that Ikmat talked about, the interview preparation that Ramat talked about, and we'll get to have some level of understanding of why that is very important. If you ever want to get a job across the major economies in the UK, Canada, the US, you're somewhere across Africa or in Europe, you want to get a job in tech. Without these things, you really would struggle to get that job. So these were the things that really help, the ingredients, apart from the technical skills that would help you get the job. Number one is your CV. All right, you must have a tailored CV. You must know how to tailor your CV to job requirements using AI embedded tools and also following some specific principles. You heard when Ikmat talked about, Ramat talked about using ChatGPT to tailor her CV and so on and so forth. This is one of the things you would learn. And it's so much value adding in the way that you would learn how to do it. You would have sessions with me, with myself. You would have sessions with professionals, industry experts that will show you how to tailor your CV. So if you have been doing procurement all your life, or you've been a banking officer, or you are a branch manager in one of the banks in Nigeria, you're currently in Canada, how do you change your experience? Or how do you add a flavor of, let's say, business analysis? You want to become a business analyst. How do you add a flavor of business analysis to your banking experience? All right. And these are the things we covered during your CV review session. Without a stellar CV, you will never be called. You heard when Ramat said she got her first job interview invite after her first application. The only reason that would happen is because she had a fantastic CV, and those are the things we do for you. LinkedIn optimization is another one, all right? You don't want to have a CV that is absolutely phenomenal, but then your LinkedIn communicates something different to recruiters. So we help optimize your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, we would help you create one. Upwork optimization, which is for those of you that want to work as a freelancer, you'd have the opportunity to also create an Upwork profile. If you have an Upwork profile already, it would help you optimize the Upwork profile so you can work on remote jobs, remote projects, controlling your time and working as a freelancer. How to navigate the job market. Ikmat said something very important, which is Ifemena, that's the co-founder of 10Alytics, would always tell you, don't sell yourself short. Don't think that because you've just learned a particular skill, you want to transition into the space, you're in the UK, you feel that you cannot get the best jobs. No, apply for the best jobs out there, the best jobs available. because we've been there and we've seen that the skills required are the skills you have gotten. And all you need is the confidence to put out applications and sell yourself during interviews. And that's where the interview preparation also comes in. So once you know what is obtainable in your specific job market, you are in the US, you are in Nigeria, you are in Kenya, you are in South Africa, you are in Canada, you now know how to apply to jobs, where to apply to jobs. How do you prepare for interviews? Okay, and interviews in most of the major economies it covers two broad areas. Number one, your skills and experience. I'll put this together, all right? And number two, your confidence. These are the two broad areas when you get into an interview where you have people, maybe in the UK, for example, these are the two key things they would look for. Talk about your experience, and they would ask you questions that are competency-based. Okay, competency-based questions. And there is a particular framework you must apply when answering competency-based questions. If not, you'd ramble and blab, and at the end of the day, you'd make no sense. All right? So they would understand your experience by asking competency-based questions. So how do you prepare for those questions? How do you preempt the type of questions? And that's where we come in to help walk you through all of that through your interview preparation sessions. And that's something we'd also do for you. Again, you have recommendation and references. Before ICMAT got confirmed, the NHS sent us a reference. Same with RAMAT as well. The NHS sent us a reference form for us to fill to show that we have worked with ICMAT, we have worked with RAMAT as data analysts and business analysts, and they had somebody to vouch for them. And recruiters would always ask for this, always, every single time. They would want you to associate yourself with a reputable organization that can stand and vouch for you. All right. So this is the level one of what we do for you. Now, we don't just stop here. We take it a step further, and we have level two, which is a weekly mentorship session that ICMAT was raving and raving and raving about. Now, why is it mentorship session very important? This is where I personally would push you. The co-founder, Efemena, would even push you a lot harder. All right. If you've joined data analytics, which is for 4 months, you're not going to wait until 4 months before you start applying to jobs. After your very first month of completing Excel, you start to apply to jobs. And this is where you have the opportunity to engage, ask questions. We bring in other industry experts that would work with you as well. And you have that hand-holding experience of what needs to be done to help you transition. And of course, on the job support, for those of you that would get a job and you need a little bit of help, we do that for you for 1 month to help you settle down into the role. All right. And one of the things we're introducing this year, because of the confidence in all the things we're going to do for you, is a promise that 1 month after you're done with the program, you would have gotten an interview. It's a guarantee from us that you will get an interview a maximum 1 month after completing the training. You heard ICMAT. She got a job even while she was still in the training. She had not even completed. Ramat also got a job, got her job 1 month after starting the training with us. So by the time you are done, 3 months or 4 months, depending on the program you've joined, maximum of 1 month after you complete the program, you will get an interview. And some of the other initiatives that would also help you get a job that we've put in place is to bring people like ICMAT and Ramat, to bring them back, okay, as body mentors. So who are your body mentors? Some of you would select data analytics, some would select business analysis. You would have somebody that would be a body to you, all right, who would come in to share experience, to answer questions based on the career path you want to move into, all right? So Ramat has already started her own sessions, and I'll share one of the sessions Ramat held, I think about 2 weeks ago, and you get to see Ramat in action, also mentoring other people to get into the business analysis ecosystem. We also have an enhanced internship experience. I talked about the internship already, where for 2 months, if you join the data engineering or business analysis, your internship would be for 2 months. All the other internships are for 1 month, where you get to work on end-to-end projects. And for the business analyst, for example, it was 1 month when Ramat did her own program, but we extended it to 2 months because of the nature of the project that we have decided to deploy, which is you building a web application. You will not build it yourself as a business analyst, but you will manage the project of building a web application to help solve an organization problem. So you'd work with a web developer, you'd work with a scrum master, you'd work with different other stakeholders to help to, come up with that solution for the organization. And lastly, some of the new initiatives for 2024 is our partnership with recruitment agencies in the major economies in the UK, in Canada, and also in the US to help bring the jobs closer to you. All right. And these are the things we have put in place that helps our candidates and our participants to get the job beyond the technical skill that you would learn, because the technical skill is a given. Every organization expects that you've applied to a role as a business analyst, you have the skills required. But what sets you apart from the competition and helps you get the job are all these things I have mentioned. Without them, you would struggle within the tech ecosystem, especially in the major economies. All right. So there are so many other success stories beyond just Ikmat and Ramat, but I'm not going to bore you with them. All right. You've listened to Ikmat, you've listened to Ramat. They've explained, they've shared their experience with you, but there are so many other professionals. Ini, Nathaniel, who is a business analyst in Spain, Efe, who got a job as a business analyst also after she joined us in April last year, completed her training in July, got a job in October. So many other professionals. You have Tony, who also works with the NHS. All right. Tony joined us, and 1 month, just like Ramat, after joining us, she was able to land a job with the NHS. And this also stems from the fact that we tell you not to wait. You don't wait until you're done before you start to apply to jobs. And that's why you see a lot of people with so many success stories, even before they complete the program. You have Olugbemi, who currently works in Canada as a solutions analyst with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada, joined our data analytics program. He got a job. Benga got a job in Poland as a business data analyst after completing our data analytics program. You have Tosin, who works as a fraud analyst. You have Abigail, who is also in Canada. Abigail was a care worker. She worked as a care worker in Canada, but today she works as a business analyst for the government of Canada in Alberta, Edmonton. Okay, so I've left the link so that you can listen to Abigail's story and what she has to say, because it's very, very important for those of you that would want to transition. And there are so many of them. We have Ikmat's video here. You can see Ikmat. Of course, you can listen to Ikmat's video, but I'm sure you've listened to Ikmat already and you've heard her story and how she was able to do it. And you can do the same. Shadi works as a data scientist in the UK. Zainab works as a data manager in Nigeria. And these are women who are blazing the trail currently after joining our program. And there are so many of them. Mojishola got a job last year in November 2023 as a business analyst after joining our program. So many of them. And once you receive the slide, you'd have the opportunity to watch and listen to what they have to say on how they were able to transition. Sonia currently works with British American Tobacco in the UK after completing our HR analytics program. All right. So you have Maureen, after completing our HR analytics program, also works with TELUS in Canada, a telecommunication company, and so many other fantastic professionals. So let's get into the discount. And what's the discount What does it entail? How do you take advantage of the discount itself? Depending on the program you've decided to join, I listed 8 programs, and I want to know those that have been listening attentively. So I want you to type the program you are interested in joining. Just type it into the chat. Data analytics, data science, depending on the program, just type it into the chat. Let's see if we can get the 8 programs I have listed today. So type it into the chat. Let's see those that are listening. Okay. Cybersecurity, data analytics, business analysis. Brilliant. I can see. Full stack data science, Iwokunoluwa. Data engineering, Sarafina. All right. I'm looking for 2 more. Scrum Master, Esther. HR analytics, Siefa. I'm looking for 1 more. That's financial analytics, Duro Dollar. Brilliant. So there are 8 different programs that we offer. And from your responses so far, I think we've listed all the 8 one way or the other. All right. But what's the discount available for all these 8 programs? Now, to be a part of any of the programs and learn all the skills, and I'm going to break down the skills and what it takes to get into any of these programs. All right. But we are going to look at the fees in terms of the discount available, the full amount, and then the IWD discount. But let's also remember that the discount is not just for the women this time around. It's for 300 women, okay, and 50 men. 300 women and 50 men. And the reason why we are also extending it to the men is simply because it is a male-dominated ecosystem, and we need the men to start to, act as key drivers, as allies, and as mentors to the women to get more women into tech. So these 50 men would act as advocates for us, right, to help drive more women into tech. And that's why we are offering the scholarship to the men as well. So looking at all the different programs that we offer, to get into any of them, we have this amazing scholarship for you. All right. So you are joining the data analytics or the business analysis or the HR analytics, financial analytics, full stack data science, data engineering, or cybersecurity. Instead of paying this full amount, you get to pay the IWD discount to get into the program. So it's a 50% discount right off the bat across all the programs. So let's assume that you decided to join the HR analytics or the business analysis or data analytics. Instead of paying $750, you get to pay $375, 50% right off the bat. If you are paying in pounds, instead of paying £625, you get to pay £313. Instead of paying 1,050 Canadian dollars, you get to pay $525. And instead of paying 900,000, you get to pay 450,000. And that's a discount for the first 7 programs. And this covers every single thing that a program entails, from learning the skill, all the skills, to also being a part of the internship and joining the additional recruitment sessions where you have your CV, you have your LinkedIn, you have your interview preparation, your mentorship sessions, and all those amazing stuff to help you land the job. And for those who will be joining the Scrum Master fee is a bit different from all the other 7. And if you are paying in dollars, instead of 450, you get to pay 225. If you're paying in pounds, instead of 375, you get to pay 188. If you're paying in Canadian dollars, instead of paying 630, you get to pay 315. And if you're paying in Naira, instead of paying 540,000, you get to pay 270,000 Naira. And these are the discounts we have available for 300 women and 50 men. Shockingly, I'll tell you what has happened, because we launched the IWD, I think about 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago. And currently, the men are leading the women. Unfortunately, we have more men that have registered compared to the women. And I would like to say that this eventually, I think what happens is the women want to think and rationalize and, over-analysis, which leads to paralysis, analysis paralysis. And at the end of the day, there's a rush at the end when the program closes or when the discount closes, because somebody asked the question, when does the discount close? The discount closes immediately. We get 300 women that have applied, and we get 50 men that have also applied. The discount would what? Close. All right. So these are the discounts we have available for those who would like to get their journey started. So how do I make payments if I want to pay? I'm going to show you how to do that very quickly. And then I would highlight the skills you would learn and the structure of the classroom for all the different programs, the 8 of them. But to be a part of, to make payments for any of these programs, all you need to do is what? Click on this link that you have on the slide, which my colleagues would also share with you. It takes you to the enrollment center, the 10Alytics enrollment center. And I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So once you click on that link, it takes you to the 10Alytics enrollment center. And all you need to do is go to the program you want to register for. So let's assume I want to register for cybersecurity or for data analytics. I click on data analytics. Okay. And it takes me into the page where I can then make payments. All right. I'm just going to wait for it to load, and then I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Is there a payment plan? Ify is asking. So that's what I'm going to show you now, Ify. So again, the advantage you have, because the class starts on the 6th of April, which is roughly about 4 weeks from today, it means that to take advantage of the discount, you don't have to make the full payment at once. No. So I'm in the US, for example, okay, or I'm in Canada, and I want to secure my discount slots for the IWD scholarship. I want to join data analytics. I'm in Canada, and so let's go back to the slide. Now, to pay for data analytics in dollars is $750 for the original fee, but the IWD discount is what? $375. But I don't have the $375 today, but I want to be a part of the scholarship. I can secure my scholarship slots today. And before the program starts on the 6th of April, I can complete the payment. Okay. And how do I do that? Once I have clicked on the link or clicked on the program I want to register for, data analytics, all I need to do is enter the amount. Okay. So today I want to pay for data analytics. I have the full amount. I just type in the full amount, and then I can click on reserve a seat. Okay, and once I click on reserve a seat, enter the full name, enter the email, enter my phone number, and then once I make my payment, what happens? I would receive an automated email into my an automated receipt into my email, and I have registered for the program. The email would contain a link for you to enter some details, and that gets you into the class. All right. Now, for those of you in Nigeria that might want to do a direct transfer, because people always ask the question, can I do a direct transfer? Yes, you can. You also have the account details for you to make the payments. The account name is Mainstack 10Alytics Payment Center. It's a Wema Bank account, and you have the account number. You can do a direct transfer, and that also gets you into the program. All right. You want to do a direct transfer in pounds, you also have the pound account detail to get you into the program. Okay. So this is how you can make payments. And my colleagues have also shared that in the chat. You'd also have this on the slide. Okay. Everything is on the slide, and you have access to it yourself. All right. So if you go back to the slide, if I go back to the slide, you have the link on the slide. And once you click on the link, it takes you to the enrollment center, and that is what gets you into class. Remember, hoping and wishing to be a part of it does not get you registered, and you don't take advantage of the scholarship. What gives you the advantage is you securing your scholarship slot. At the moment we get to 300 women across all the programs, and we get to 50 men across all the programs, we end the scholarship. So you want to take advantage, you want to be a part of this, you know somebody that can be a part of this, that can take advantage, do take advantage. If I'm in Italy, can I pay in Naira? No, you can't. If I'm in the UK, can I pay in Naira? No, you can't. If I'm in the US, can I pay in Naira? No, you can't. The Naira fee is for those in Nigeria. Okay, the Naira fee is for those in Nigeria. How do I receive lectures? Very, very good question. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the structure of the classroom and how to also be a part of it. So what does it take for you to join the data analytics? What does it take for you to join the business analysis program, and so on and so forth? And I'll do that in about 10 minutes, and then we take questions and we start to call it a day. All right. Now, your sessions are 100% virtual. Okay, so you have a facilitator like myself or another professional that will walk you through projects. You get to walk through projects together on a live session like this, and that's how you receive your classes. Okay, but before I come back to show you the classroom and what the classroom looks like, I want to walk you through the skills that you need to get into data analytics or business analysis or data science, as the case might be. All right, so how do you get into any of this career path? And we're going to start with the business analysis program. So just like Ramat, what did Ramat need to learn to get into business analysis? 9 key areas. All right, Ramat needed to learn, first of all, Excel. Just give me 1 second so I can scribble on my screen a bit. She got to learn Excel, which is very fundamental as a business analyst. Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And these are the technical skills as a business analyst that gives you an edge, because you are not totally expected to have these skills as a business analyst. However, we've seen the trend across the market over time, and we've seen that organizations have started to request for business analysts to have these skills. And because of that, they have done what? Started to hire people that have these data analytics skills in Excel, in Power BI, and SQL. So we added it to our curriculum. And that was what benefited Ramat to also get into the role as a business analyst. All right. You'd learn process mapping, which is where you would look at a process from the beginning till the end, which is the core responsibility of the business analyst. The business analyst is a professional who analyzes the organization's business processes, the business systems, to identify improvements and solutions in that business. So if a process takes 5 days in an organization, you would map out the process from start to finish. And this is the current process. It's called process mapping. And once you've mapped out the process, it becomes easy for you to find where you have loopholes and areas for what? Optimization. So as a business analyst, you need to understand process mapping. Take a process end to end, look at the as-is process, which is the current state, optimize that process, make it more efficient. Instead of taking 5 days, that process now takes 2 hours or 1 hour, all right, by implementing different optimization strategies. And that's a core responsibility of a business analyst. You'd also have to manage projects, because guess what? When you have a process that takes 5 days and you want it to, take longer or shorter rather, you want to reduce the time from 5 days to 1 hour, it means you need to automate some certain processes. So whatever is manual, you need to digitalize it and make it more automated. Now, these automations would require a project to start or a project to be set up. And as a business analyst, you will manage that project. You will initiate the project, manage the project, track the deliverables, and ensure that that project is delivered efficiently. So you need to understand project management techniques, project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects, software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and of course, like I mentioned, ChatGPT for business analysis. In mapping out your processes, you're going to learn how to do that using Lucidcharts and Draw.io. In tracking project deliverables, when you manage projects, you're going to learn how to do that using what? Jira. You'd learn Trello and Confluence for collaboration and also tracking projects. And of course, you'd learn Excel, Power BI, SQL for data analytics and analyzing data. And last but not the least, ChatGPT for analytics. The business analysis program takes 4 months, all right? 2 months you learn in class, and 2 months you work on a real-world project building a web application. Okay, now your classes for 2 months are also project-based, where you're working on projects, and these are the projects that you add to your portfolio. Your classes as a business analyst happens on Saturdays and Sundays, and it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Nigeria, if you're in Canada, if you're in the US, you are in the UK, we have a class that fits your schedule. All right, so Saturday 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for those in the UK, for those in Nigeria, for those in West Africa, in Ghana, with similar time zones, you have a class that fits your time. And for those in Canada, in the US, your class would be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay, I'm currently in the Mountain Standard Time zone, and it is 1:52 p.m. my time. All right, so 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is when you have your classes on Saturday for those in Canada, in the US, so that it fits into your time zone. And on Sundays, if you're in Nigeria, the UK, similar time zone, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. All right, if you're in Canada, you're in the US, it's 12 noon to 3 p.m. Okay, and this is what it takes for you to become a business analyst. Now, from when Ramat joined us, you listen to Ramat, right? Till date, certain improvements we've made in the program is moving the internship from 1 month to 2 months. Ramat didn't get to enjoy 2 months internship. She enjoyed just 1 month internship. Another improvement we made is what? ChatGPT for business analysis. Ramat didn't get to enjoy that, but we've added that to the curriculum. So our curriculum is ever evolving to meet the market demand. And this is the business analysis program, all right? I'm going to move to the data analytics. So Raphael, all you need to do is do the conversion. If you go on Google and just type in 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West Africa time, give me the time in East Africa time. It will give you, essentially, all right? So as a data analyst, your major responsibility, just like ICMAT, what she does with the NHS, is to collect data, process the data, extract information or insights from the data to help organization take decisions. All right. So how many people attended this session? How many male? How many female? We extract that data. We analyze the data. Where are they coming from? How many percentage of the female are within a particular sector? How many of them are within a particular age group? Okay. And then from there, we can start to extract information to help us take decisions. Okay, most of the people that go for the scholarship are those in a particular sector or within a particular age group. The person responsible for doing all of this analysis and coming up with these insights is the data analyst. The data analyst takes the data that organizations have generated. They analyze that data using different analytic tools and come up with insights or information to help that organization take decisions. So you're going to start with problem solving as a data analyst. And a data analyst must know how to identify a problem, must know the right technique to get to the root cause of a problem, like a technique called the 5 whys. Okay? Asking why, the 5 whys, asking why 5 times until you get to the root cause of a problem, understanding the McKinsey-Mason model, understanding the prioritization matrix. How do I prioritize problems, and so on and so forth. All right. Once you've understood problem solving, you then need to learn Excel, SQL, structured query language, which is a language to interact with databases. Organizations will keep their data in a database. How do you extract that data? How do you analyze the data? How do you speak to the database? SQL is that common denominator across all data roles. You can't do anything data without the understanding of SQL. You learn Power BI for data visualization and data analysis, and you'd learn Tableau for data analytics as well. What will you use these tools to do? You would use Excel, SQL, Power BI, and Tableau to answer 2 key questions in any organization as a data analyst. And the first question is what we refer to as the descriptive analytics, which is answering the question, what happened? Every organization wants to know what happened yesterday, what happened last month, what happened last year, 2023. How many new customers did we get? How much revenue did we generate? And you want to compare that with same period this year. So Q1 2023. Can we compare that to Q1 2024? Did we improve or did we decline in terms of number of customers, in terms of revenue generated? So that is what happened. So what happened last year? What happened yesterday? Every organization wants to know this. And this is one major question you would answer as a data analyst in any organization. Once you know what happened, the second question you'll be answering as a data analyst is called diagnostic analytics, which is why did it happen? Why did it happen? So once you have looked at last year, Q1 2023, Q1 2024, there was a sharp increase in revenue. That is what happened. But why do you have that sharp rise in revenue? That is going deeper into the data, which is called diagnostic analytics, to answer why did it happen? Did we implement a new strategy? Did we deploy some new initiatives? Why did that increase happen? So that we can double down on that and keep on improving our revenue. Okay, and these are the 2 questions a data analyst would answer. And I'm going to answer these 2 questions using Excel, SQL, Power BI, and what? Tableau. Descriptive analytics, what happened? Diagnostic analytics, why did it happen? Once you've learned that, you're going to learn data storytelling, which of course is a way for you to tell a story from the analysis you've done to people that don't have the technical skill or technical know-how. Your CEO, your directors, they don't care. They don't know what Excel is. They don't know what Power BI is. But you are the analyst. You've done the analysis. But they would be the ones to take the decision. So you need to present your findings to them in a compelling way that they see the rationale behind your recommendations and they go ahead to take a decision. So that comes from data storytelling, being able to tell a story from the analysis you have carried out in a simple way that people understand exactly what they need to do based on your recommendation. You'd learn ChatGPT for analytics and also Microsoft Fabric. And just like the business analysis, data analytics is for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. Now, the difference between the data analytics and business analysis, for the data analytics, you have a more flexible class in the sense that you don't have to come to a live class on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays is when you have your live class. Again, based on your region, it's very flexible to accommodate your time zone. If you're in the UK, Nigeria, West Africa, Ghana, you have a time zone that fits your session, okay? 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in Canada, in the US, you have the Mountain Standard Time that also fits your time zone on Saturdays. That's when you have a live class. And I'll show you what a live class typically looks like at 10Alytics and the type of projects you're also going to work on, all right? Sundays, you don't have a live class. You have something we call the Watch Me Do It videos. So these are bite-sized videos that you get every Sunday and you watch on a self-paced, scenario. You get to watch these videos at your own convenience. You want to watch them in the evening, you want to watch them in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, it's at your own convenience, okay? So on Saturdays, you have a live class. On Sundays, you have the self-paced Watch Me Do It videos, and that's how the data analytics would run, okay? Moving a lot faster now, you have the HR analytics. A HR analyst is simply a data analyst that works with people data, okay, or HR data. And what are the type of HR data that you would have? Now, for all of you, when you get into an organization, HR will collect some data from you, your bio data, your name, your date of birth, your location, your address, and all of those things, where you were hired from, your previous work experience. They collect all these data from you, all right? When you're also leaving, you have an exit interview where you also provide some data. Why are you leaving? Okay. And they ask you questions around the exit process. Now, HR would gather all these data, but what do they do with it? That's the question. And that's where the HR analyst comes in. The HR analyst is that data analyst that has analytic skills, but does not focus on everything on the business, does not focus on revenue, does not focus on optimizing and maximizing efficiency and so on and so forth. The HR analyst is focused on extracting insights that will drive HR strategies and policies from the people-related data that company has generated. So you definitely need the data analytics skills in problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And then you learn the core HR fundamentals, HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle. So you know the type of metrics to measure in an organization that are people related. Absenteeism, for example. Okay, how has, absenteeism, people who are absent within the organization, how does it affect the organization, productivity, and so on and so forth? Talent acquisition. Where do we get our best employees? What channels, and so on and so forth? You'd also learn HR analysis and dashboarding. You'd learn how to automate your reports and collaborate using tools like Power BI. And you'd also learn how to build your case and create action, and also ChatGPT for HR analytics. Similar to the data analytics program, the HR analytics is also for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship. You have your classes on Saturdays, and on Sunday, you have your self-paced class where you can watch your videos at your own convenience. And if you're in the UK, you are in the US, it doesn't matter. You have a class that fits your time schedule. All right. And that's the HR analyst in summary. Now, the financial analytics is very similar in terms of the structure. The only difference between the financial analysts and the HR analysts, while the HR analyst focuses on people data, the financial analyst focuses on what? It's very intuitive, right? Financial data. So the financial analyst is that professional who would look at the financial data generated by that organization to guide investment decisions, to also evaluate the performance of that company based on what? The data the company has generated, which are financially related. All right. If we have spent 2 billion naira, or we have spent $500,000 between January and March 9th or March 10th, 2024. Forecasting to the rest of the year, from now to the end of the year, are we going to meet our budgeted costs for the year 2024? So it's the financial analyst that answers that question. We are spending a lot more than we should, or we are not generating a lot as much as we should based on the targets and the budget we have set for ourselves. So who is that person? And there is no organization on earth that does not need a financial analyst. And this goes to the reason why these roles are very, very high in demand. So if I'm somebody who analyzes financial data, I must understand the data analytics skills, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL. And then I learn accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, using different financial ratios, profit margin, cost to revenue ratio, and so on and so forth. You learn financial modeling a business from scratch that has not started, modeling a business that already exists, looking at the best case, the worst case, the base case, and so on and so forth. You learn valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and of course, ChatGPT for analytics. And you don't, for all the programs I've mentioned, and you listen to ICMAT, you listen to Ramat. Ramat was a customer care representative, no experience whatsoever, all right? So all the programs are beginner friendly, okay? And all the skills you need to be a part of the program, you would learn them during the program. I can see a lot of questions coming in. I just want to rush through this because I'm almost done with this, and then I'll take questions. Ifeanyi is asking, for those of us paying through direct transfer, how do we show proof of payment and how do we get into the system? I don't know if that question has been answered for you, Ifeanyi. Okay, Lydia has answered, okay? So all you need to do, Ifeanyi, once you do a direct transfer, take a screenshot of the payment, okay? Take a screenshot of your payment and send that to us via email. And the email is, Lydia, if you could provide that, the email is enquiries@10Alytics.io or .org. Okay, enquiries. I'll share that as well. I have it on the slide. I'm going to share that with you. Okay, but just ensure you take a screenshot as proof of payment and then send it to us and we get you into the classroom. Okay. Again, the financial analytics is for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship, and similar to the data analytics, HR analytics, the financial analytics is also similar classroom structure. Okay, I'm going to move to data science. The data science program, fantastic, phenomenal program. And the major responsibility of the data scientist is to help the organization plan for the future, plan ahead. And how do you help an organization plan ahead? You must know what is likely going to happen in the future. Okay, so if I tell you today that if in the next 3 weeks, you'd have, if you are used to doing maybe working on 3 reports, in the next 3 weeks, you're going to have 10 clients that would require that you work on 10 reports instead of your typical 3 reports. If I would now know that I need to prepare to get all the tools I need to work on 10 reports in the future, because you can predict what will happen in that future. Okay, and that's what a data scientist does. The data analyst answers these 2 questions, all right, which is what? Descriptive, what happened? If you remember, we talked about that for the data analyst, right? And diagnostic, why did it happen? So the data scientist would also do the same, answer these 2 questions, but take it a step further. When you know what happened, all right, we had an increase or we had a decline in number of customers acquired. Why did it happen? We know why it happened. Oh, we had a lockdown, there was COVID, there was this, there was that. You now go a little bit further to what will happen. which is predicting. So if you know what has happened and why it happened, you can predict into the future of what will happen. And for you to predict into the future, you must have statistics and do some level of statistical modeling. All right. So you must have statistical modeling skills. You must have experience and knowledge of statistics for you to get into data science. Okay. So the data scientist would answer a major question, which is predictive analytics, predicting what will happen in the future. As simple and short in a nutshell. All right. So you do what the data analyst will do, which is answer the question, what happened, why it happened, and what will happen. All right. And that comes with machine learning, statistics, and so on and so forth. So what are the skills that you need to have to answer the question, what will happen, to help companies prepare and plan for the future? Statistics is the foundation of predictive analytics and machine learning and all those very fancy terms you hear out there. All right. You'd also learn Excel, but this time around, you're learning Excel, carrying out predictive analytics and forecasting to predict what will happen. Okay. So you would learn different forecasting techniques, the naive approach to forecasting, exponential smoothing. You would learn the moving average technique, linear regression. You do stuff using Excel that you never imagined was possible, forecasting and predicting what will happen in the future. All right. You'd also learn Tableau for data analytics and predictive analytics. You learn SQL to interact with databases before you move into Python. Python is a language you would leverage to do your analysis, exploratory data analysis, build your machine learning models, implement your machine learning algorithms, and also work on computer vision projects. All right. You'd learn GitHub for version control. You'd learn GitHub Copilot for coding to automate your coding. So you learn ChatGPT, but you will not stop there. You'd also learn GitHub Copilot, which acts as an AI mechanism to help to optimize your work as a data scientist. And of course, you'd also learn Microsoft Fabric. How long does it take for you to transition into data science? 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship. And the structure of the class is similar to the data analytics. Your live classes are on Saturdays. If you're in the UK, you're in Nigeria, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., similar time zone. If you're in a similar time zone, you fit into that class. If you're in the US, in Canada, North American region with a totally different time zone, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And on Sundays is when you have your self-paced watch me do it videos. All right. And that's for the data science. Now, the data engineering, we have just 3 more career paths: data engineering, Scrum, and cybersecurity. And then we call it a day. I take questions and then we call it a day. All right. But what does a data engineer do? Because people ask questions. Some people will go as far as telling me that I studied electrical and electronics engineering. Can I become a data engineer? Or I studied mechanical engineering. Does that mean I can become a data engineer? That's very, very far from it. But the question is, what does a data engineer do? Now, a data engineer's role is very straightforward and very, very important in any organization. All right. We've talked about the data analysts answering questions using data, the data scientists answering questions and preparing for the future by forecasting using data as well. The HR analyst also analyzes people data. The financial analyst analyzes financial data. But where do they get this data from? Who provides the data to them? Okay, so organizations would have data in different systems. A bank, for example, would have a bank application. You all have your mobile apps on your phone. It doesn't matter the apps you use: Monzo, Revolut, Barclays, Lloyds, Scotiabank, GT Bank, First Bank, irrespective of where you are. You have your bank application. You'd also have web applications. Okay, web apps. So you do your transactions on the web. You have POS transactions. So let's take these three, for example. This is a bank that has 3 different channels. This mobile app, let's call it M app, would have a database that stores all the transactions from this mobile app. The web application would also have a database that stores all the transactions from the web app. The POS would also have a database that stores all the transactions from the POS. If you have a HRIS system, okay, a HR information system, you have a platform, Monday, Workday, and different other HR platforms out there, Exceed, and so on and so forth, all right? How do you get the data from those systems? And that's what the data engineer does. The data engineer would go into this database, create a pipeline, go into the web application, create a pipeline, go into the POS, create a pipeline that would extract data from all these systems, and put that data in a central location available to anybody that needs that data. And this is called the data warehouse. So the data engineer would create data pipelines to extract data from different systems, move that data from those systems into a data warehouse. From that data warehouse, the data analysts can go in there to get data. The data scientists can go in there to get data. The HR analyst can go in there to get data. So that's why the data engineer's role is very, very important in ensuring that analytics even happens in the organization, because the data engineer is the one that creates the data infrastructure that moves the data from all the systems into the data warehouse for easy access. So it's safe to say that without the data engineer, the data would not be available in the organization. So that's how important the data engineer's role is in an organization, all right? And to do all this amazing stuff, to create your data pipelines, making the data available, you'd learn what data engineering is all about. You learn SQL, which is going to be your bread and butter as a data engineer. You'd use this every day. You'd learn Python, which is also going to be your bread and butter every single day. These are the 2 major languages that you would implement to build in your pipelines and so on and so forth. You would learn Linux for bash scripting. You'd build ETL pipelines. ETL simply means extract, transform, and load. Because when you extract data from those systems, the data will need to be transformed to a form that is easily accessible for the people that would need the data. So it goes through a process called ETL: extract, transform, and load. All right. So the data engineer builds those ETL pipelines, getting data from different sources, use Apache Spark, Apache Airflow to carry out orchestration and scheduling of these pipelines. You'd learn AWS cloud engineering, version control with GitHub, and ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. Okay, the data engineering program compared to the others would take what? 5 months. 5 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 2 months internship. All right. Your classes are also on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you don't have a separated class for this particular program, but you have a time that is reasonable for people in different regions to still join and be a part of the program. For example, if I'm in the UK, I'm in Nigeria, I join the class at 4 p.m. West African time. And if I'm in Calgary or in Edmonton, for example, I join the time at what? 8 a.m., which is reasonable to be a part of the program. And on Sundays, you also have a live class on Sunday. You have a self-paced class on Sunday, I beg your pardon, just like the other programs where you have a self-paced watch me do it class, all right? And this is a data engineering program, okay? Now, going to the Scrum Master. As a Scrum Master, you find yourself in a very unique role whereby you implement the Scrum rules and ensure that projects are delivered using the Agile methodology. Okay, I always advise people that rather than going into a generic or a general project management role, if you want to get a job in tech specifically, then you want to consider the Scrum Master position, because this is a position that gives you the opportunity to focus and implement the Agile methodology in any organization. Okay, and what is the Agile methodology in a nutshell? This is where you don't have to complete the entire project for you to deploy, unlike the waterfall approach, where you plan out everything, you complete the project, deploy the project, and you have the project completed. If you have the waterfall, use the waterfall approach. But the Agile framework is you simply doing a part, the most important part of that product that you want to deploy. All right, you want to create the next WhatsApp. What does WhatsApp do? WhatsApp allows you to chat, send pictures, and let's say send videos. All right, WhatsApp can now do more than this. Okay, but these are the most important features of the WhatsApp you want to create. There are more features that WhatsApp have today. This is the first three. Let's say WhatsApp can also do what? You can share your screen, do video calls, okay, and so on and so forth. So there are so many things. The waterfall approach would require that you come up with the entire features of that project or that product and start the project, complete the project, and you know you are done and dusted. The Agile framework would select the most important features of that particular product. You build the product and you deploy it to the customers. The customers would use that particular product, and as they're using the product, they're giving you a feedback. And the feedback you get, you use that to do what? Optimize and make the product a lot better so that it fits into the needs of the customer. And that's why you see today you get an update for your Instagram, an update for your WhatsApp with new additional features. All right, that can only be done when you leverage the Agile methodology of not building everything at once, but building it in what we call sprints. You look at the most important aspect, the most important features, and within a sprint, which could take about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, as the case might be, you build those features and then you deploy, get feedback, and reiterate. And that's the Agile methodology. And the person that ensures that the Agile methodology is followed and all the Scrum rules are also followed in an organization is a Scrum Master. And that's why I tell you that you want to get into tech as a project manager, don't look into the conventional project management role. You want to look at the Scrum Master role. You'll learn what the Scrum Master does, what it's all about, the Scrum team, including the product owner, the Scrum Master, the different team members. You would learn the Scrum artifacts and the Scrum ceremonies, like the sprint planning, your daily Scrum, and also your sprint review. You would look at all of these things, increments, the sprint backlog. You'd understand the Scrum events, the Nexus scaled Scrum, where you deploy Scrum on a larger scale across multiple teams. And of course, would also help you prepare for the professional Scrum Master examination. The Scrum Master program takes 2 months, 1 month learning in class and 1 month working on a real world project. All right. Classes 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Okay. And last but not the least is the cybersecurity program. And this is where we're going to call it a day. All right. As a cybersecurity analyst, you are responsible for protecting the organization systems, the organization data, and the organization network from external threats. Okay. And as a cybersecurity analyst, your role is absolutely important in ensuring that people who should ordinarily not have access to the network, to the systems of an organization, don't have that access. And you learn introduction to cybersecurity, the foundation of networking and computing, security principles, defensive and offensive cybersecurity, cryptography, cyber threats and attack vectors. You'd learn how to protect networks, endpoints, web and applications, and also cloud. Today, we have a lot of our applications, our data in the cloud. How do you also protect the cloud infrastructure that you have, and also incidents reporting and policies and compliance as related to cybersecurity? How long does it take you to learn? 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. Your classes are on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West Africa time, Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. West Africa time. And that brings us to all the programs that we offer, what you learn, how you learn, the timing of your classes, the duration, and so on and so forth. Okay, remember, the next cohort starts on the 6th of April, 2024, about 3 weeks from today. And the IWD discount and scholarship is only available for the first 300 women and the first 50 men. Last year, we had 320 because we had a last, rush. We're not extending it this time around because we want to have a maximum of 300 and a maximum of 50 men. So if you're a man, you are a male, you want to take advantage of this discount as well. It's important that you get into the program as fast as you can so you fall within the first 50 to get started, okay? I'm going to take a breather at this point in time and I'll take questions, okay? I'll take questions, all right? So I'll go through the chat, but if there's anybody who would love to ask a question by unmuting yourself, raising up your hand, I'll be very happy to take your question. Just use the hand raise icon and I'll call you up to speak. And as we do that, as we wait for questions to come in, I would also show you, somebody asked me the other time, the structure of the classroom, okay? How am I going to learn when I join a 10Alytics program? So I'm going to show you how you would learn when you join us at 10Alytics, okay? I'll show you what your classroom looks like, just similar to what Ikmat and Ramat also experienced in terms of their classroom structure and so on. Okay, I have some questions. Some people have their hand raised. I'll come to you shortly. Just give me 1 second and I'll walk you through the classroom very quickly. Okay, now, once you register for any of the programs, you've made payments, you've secured your discounts, you join one of the programs you join the respective program you paid for. Okay, so I can see all the classes here. These are the classrooms. So this is business analysis for those that started in March. The March cohort started on the 2nd of March. You have the data analytics that also started on the 2nd of March and so on, all right? For a business analysis program, this particular cohort started in July. I beg your pardon, started in February, okay? February 2024, all right? You can see that here, business analysis EU cohort 2402, 02 for February, 24 for 2024. Now, the EU refers to the time zone. So if you're in the UK, you are somewhere in Europe, you are in Nigeria, you'd find yourself in this particular class because of the time zone. And if you're in the NA class, because you'd also see the NA. If you're in the NA, that's North America. And those are for people, that class is for people in the US and Canada and so on and so forth, okay? Well, let's get into it. Now, some of the first things you'd see when you join at the very top of your class we have something we call the consistency project. I'm not going to go too deeply into that because of time. You have the job application tracker, which is what you and what we would also use to track your job applications. Because like Ikmat and Ramat said, the focus for us is to help you get a job. The focus for us is to help you transition from your current role into a role in tech. All right. So job application is very, very important to us because once you also get a job, we can bring you up here just like Ikmat and Ramat to share their experience. All right. You have your interview prep session or clarity session. Okay. So one of the first things we do for each program, you have a job description template. Remember, I talked about how important the job description is, your CV templates and so on. How do you tailor your CV to a particular job description? So you have a good understanding of what the job description of a business analyst should look like. You also have a CV template that you will use when applying to jobs after you're done with your CV review sessions. You would have links for job sites where to apply to jobs, remote jobs, jobs in the hidden market, jobs across different types of sectors and so on. And then you have a link for you to book interview sessions. So when you have an interview, just like Ikmat, you don't need to speak to anybody. All you need to do is come to your classroom, click on any of the links, and then it opens a Calendly. All right. And from the Calendly, okay, let me click on iSosa. From the Calendly, it takes you into where you select your dates. For example, I want my interview on the 12th. I select the time available and then click on next, enter my name, enter my email, and then provide the details of the job description and so on. Once you schedule the event, somebody would meet with you to prepare you for that interview. And that's how you book your sessions. Now, if you don't find the dates that fits your current need at that point in time, you can then send a message on WhatsApp because you'll be part of a WhatsApp group where you'd have your class coordinator and so on and so forth. All right. Now, I talked about Ramat. You also Ramat. I want to show you something quickly where Ramat started mentoring people, the body mentorship. So the body mentorship, like I mentioned earlier, is where we bring people like Ramat, Ikmat, and so many other professionals that have gone through 10Alytics. They're all alumnus, okay? They're 10Alytics alumni. They've gone through the 10Alytics program and they'll be coming back to help you. So it's easy for you to relate with them because they have just accomplished what you are trying to accomplish, okay? So let's listen to Ikmat very quickly, just 1 minute, and you hear Ikmat also sharing her experience and mentoring the people that have joined this particular cohort.
My process and my daily life as a BA, being that I've been in your shoes once before where I was part of a mentorship session and people came here to motivate us with all that they know and all that they do. So it's a privilege to be back here. So without further ado, I'll just go straight into it.
Okay, so that's Ramat. All of you saw Ramat just a few minutes ago. And this is Ramat taking a mentorship session. I'm not sure why this is rolling. Let me just refresh this very quickly. Just to give you an insight into...
That's one thing I've realized on the course of my job. You need to understand in order to be understood.
Okay, so this is Ramat simply talking about what she currently does on her role, typical daily tasks and responsibilities as a business analyst, working with the NHS, meetings and engagements, document creation and review. So it's a practical session where you have somebody that has just gotten a job, that have just gone through the same program that you are currently enrolled in. So there is nothing more fantastic than that. All right. And that's what we call the body mentorship session. Okay. You'd see that across the mentorship. Now, another mentorship session you'd see here Just like Ramat said, when answering competency-based questions, you have to use the STAR approach. And these are things we teach you during your mentorship. You need to know how to answer questions during interviews. If not, you struggle to get a job. You have your CV review sessions. You see the body mentorship. And these are the sessions where we bring in those people that have gone past, they've gone ahead of you, and then they're coming back to help you. But let's go to the very beginning of this class, okay? Where you have your very first Excel class. Your very first Excel class, you have your class materials available to you, so you don't miss anything. If you miss a class, maybe you couldn't attend this particular session, the class recording is available. All right. All you need to do is come here, click on the class recording. It takes you to the class recording and you have access to the class and everything that was done in class for that particular day. Okay. We're not going to waste time on that. And you also have access to the materials. So this particular case study, and when we say our programs are case study based, meaning that you get to work on projects. So this was a case study for Glow Gadgets, which is a company that currently manufactures eco-friendly electronics. You work with them to help them extract valuable insights from their data using Excel. So you're going to answer 7 questions using Excel. So you're not answering questions by using Excel as a tool. You would learn how to use Excel as a tool to solve problems for organizations. And this is how you develop the skill and develop the competence as a business analyst. You don't learn by just using the tool itself. You learn by using the tool to solve a problem, okay? So for somebody that has missed this class, the data is there, the slides are there, and all you have to do is come in, you have access to the slides and you have access to the data, and you can always revisit every single time. Same with your second Excel class. You have your materials is a different case study for a company called Plume Technologies. And you'll be working for this company, helping them solve a problem as well, okay? Using Excel. So you're learning Excel as a business analyst to solve problems and not just to learn Excel as a tool by watching videos, no. So you're going to join your live class. You have your class recording for those who would like to go back to the recording as a form of reference, and so on and so forth. You have assignments, you have presentations that you're going to embark on to improve your communication skills because you do a lot of presentations as a business analyst, okay? That's pretty much how your class would look like. You'd be a part of this classroom. You'd have access to all these materials, lifetime access as a business analyst if you have joined the business analysis program. Okay, I'm going to take questions before we call it a day because I can see a couple of hands up, and I'll start with Esther Adebayo. So Esther, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and please go ahead and ask your question, Esther.
Okay, good evening. What I want to ask you is, you were saying something about if someone does not have you want to register for the IWD discount scholarship, but you don't have the full amount. You're saying something on how to pay instrumentally, but you didn't finish that before you jumped to something else. You didn't finish that statement. Now
Where are
to
you
like,
paying, Esther? Can you still hear me, Esther?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, where are you paying from? Are you paying in dollars or you're paying
Nigeria, paying through bank transfer.
paying in Naira? Okay, so for you to pay easily, Esther, all you need to do, just give me 1 second and I'll show you, is
Okay.
for you to click on this link. I think I shared that. Just give me 1 second and I'll go back there. Okay, so all you need to do is click on this link. Sorry, struggling to share my screen now. Yeah. So all you need to do is you're going to click on this link. The link has been shared by my colleagues, in the chat, but you'd also get the slides. When you, at the end of today's session, you receive the session recording, you receive my slides, so you have access to this, all right? It's a main stack link. You click on this link, and once you click on the link, it takes you to this page. It brings you here, all right? So for somebody like you, Esther, you want to do a direct transfer. You know the program you want to register for. You know the amount. You just do a direct transfer to this account, all right? It's a Wema Bank account. The account name is Mainstack 10Alytics Payment Center. And you have the account number 9311477493. And all you need to do is to make payments using this account detail, and it takes you into the class. Now, for other people who will be paying maybe in dollars or pounds or euros or Canadian dollars, as the case might be, it doesn't matter where you are. All you need to do is click on any of these links, all right? And it takes you into the payment center for that particular program. And you enter the amount to pay to be a part of the program, okay? I think I can see a question from the chat saying that, oh, you can't pay in installments. So there is a minimum amount you can pay, which is £313. Okay, so what we're going to do to allow to pay, okay, I see what you mean now. So you have to pay the full amount in one full swoop, all right, which is £313 if I'm paying in pounds, which is the discounted fee for, let's say, the business analysis. Okay, so if you're in the UK, you want to make payment in installments, you can also do a transfer using the UK account details. But if you're outside the UK, you are in Canada, you are in Switzerland, you are in France or Paris or something, you want to make payments, we're going to make some adjustments to this so that there is a minimum amount that you can pay, and then you can balance up the payments before the program starts on the 6th of April to give as many people the opportunity to be a part of the program, okay, and take advantage of the scholarship. Let me take the next question. Esther, I hope I answered your question. Just send a message in the chat so I know that I've answered your question, Esther. So let me take a question from Cherish. Cherish, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Please go ahead and ask a question, Cherish.
All right. Good evening, and let me firstly appreciate you and the entire team so far. It's been quite a marathon session for you guys. A nice one. My question will be, like Esther was asking, the amount to be paid in installments, as some of us, I'm speaking from Nigeria, all right?
Okay.
So the amount might not be very easy for so many of us. And as such, wanted to know, okay, how much installments can be paid, like you said. That's from where Esther was coming from. Then from my own end, I think when I think Hikmat was talking, she was saying she has not gotten her certificate. So I wanted to know, oh, we are done. Good thing is in some countries, they might not really want to see your certificate. It's just about what you can do. You have the skill, then we can just onboard you, and then you go on training, and then you're good to go. But of course, some other countries or some companies might still say, let's see your certification. It's interesting and fantastic that 10Alytics is giving references, yes. But what about the certificates too? The delivery, I think it's important we'll talk about that. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for that, Cherish. Maybe I should have addressed that earlier. So the reason why Hikmat has not gotten a certificate is because she has not requested for it. Okay, so I'll tell you the way the certificate process works. The certificate is not automatic because you attended or joined our program. You need to complete a capstone project. So once you are done with your data analytics, all right, you're going to work on capstone projects on Excel, on Power BI, on SQL, and on Tableau. Without you completing and submitting these projects, you don't have access to your certificates, because that's the only way we can assess that you have gotten the skills to get started as a data analyst. Okay. Now, where I would say Ikmat was fortunate was because she got a job before she completed the program. So there was no need for her to come back to even complete the capstone and so on and so forth. And that's why she did not receive the certificates. But as soon as she requests for it, completes the capstone, it's everybody who does that gets their certificates. And that's the way the certification process works. But I'm sure you can also agree that I've gotten the job. Nobody cares about my certificate. So why, what do I need it for? You know, and that's the reason why she hasn't. Okay. Now for the payments, for those, it doesn't matter the installments, all right? You make your payments, and the class starts on the 6th. And as soon as we get to 300, the discount is off the table. So what you want to do is, first of all, secure your discounted slot. And you know that you're going to complete your payments a week before the program commences. And the program commences on the 6th of April. Okay, on the 6th of April, the program would commence. So you want to balance up before a week before the 6th of April. And why do I say a week before the 6th of April? Every class you join, you get something we call the welcome kits. And I'll show you that very quickly. You have the welcome kits. The welcome kit contains all the tools, all the materials that you would need during the program. All right. This is the one for the business analysis. You have a welcome message from us at 10Alytics. You have myself, you have a Femena, and then how to navigate the classroom. It's important for you to know how to navigate the classroom. You'd also have your lesson plan, your dates, your timings, and all of that. And most importantly, how to install Microsoft Office, how to download and install PostgreSQL, how to download and install Power BI. So all the applications that you need and the tools that you need, you also get them in this welcome kit. So you want to have this minimum a week before the program starts. Okay, and that without completing your payment, you don't receive the welcome kit. All right, so a week before the program starts, you complete your full payments, the discounted payments to be a part of the program. All right, and this is the one for business analysis. So you have the email to reach out to your class coordinator, whose name is Ubong, Prince Ubong. That's the coordinator for this particular program that ensures that everything that you need, you get it within the program itself. Okay, so Cherish, I hope I answered your question. We do give certificates. You will get a certificate for every program as soon as you complete your capstone project, which is an assessment of the skills and the learning that has happened during the training. Ikmat was lucky to get a job before she completed. Same with Ramat as well. And that's why they didn't come back for their certificates. Okay. So Cherish, let me know if I answered your question. All right. I'll take maybe 3 more questions because I can see a lot of hands up. Well, I'm not sure I'll be able to take all the questions, but just to give you some, a bit of comfort for those people whom I might not have the opportunity to take your questions here. On Tuesday, we'll have something we call a clarity one-on-one session. All right. So for those of you that are interested, I would want to be a part of, take advantage of the scholarship, number 1. And for those of you who might not know the program to select, I'm interested in doing this. There was a lady that paid for 2 programs because she knew that this was a bargain and it was the opportunity for her to start. She didn't even know what to do in terms of the program to join, but she wanted to pay for 2. All right. So for those of you who might not know if to join the data analytics or the data science or the cybersecurity, we're going to have a clarity session on Tuesday. All right. It will be 2 sessions, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, to accommodate as many people. So if I can't take your question here, what you want to do is ensure that you secure the discounts. Okay. And once you secure the discounts, You join that clarity session, and then you have the opportunity to interact with myself, the co-founder, and then we can take the questions that we probably could not take during our session today because of time. All right, but let me take the next person from iPhone. It just says iPhone, but I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself now. So let me take your question, iPhone.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for, I hope you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear, I can hear you.
First, thank you for all the full details and information you gave us. So what I would like to ask, while you were taking us through each course's details, for instance,
Yes.
in data science, you mentioned that it's going to take 4 months. The first
Yes.
3 months is for training, and then 1 month is for internship. So what I would like to ask is, the internship, is it going to be with you, or you are going to connect the candidate to a kind of company where the person will do internship? So thank you.
Okay. So what's your name again? I didn't get the name. I think you've muted yourself. Okay, that's fine. So the internship is a project-based internship. All right. You'll be doing the internship with us at 10Alytics. Okay, and just to give you some insights into what the internship looks like. So once you are done, you've done your capstone project, you join the internship, you get to work with other contemporaries that have joined the other programs. You'd have a case study, and this is a real-world end-to-end case study. Some of the projects I have worked on as a data analyst over the last decade of my career, the co-founder, his experience as well. We've curated our experience into case studies for you to also benefit from. And these are real life, scenarios. All right. So you would work together with a business analyst, together with a data scientist, and you work on that project together. So you'd have meetings, you would schedule Zoom sessions, you would schedule different meetings, assign responsibilities, and you collaborate to solve that problem. Okay, so you won't be assigned to a specific company for the internship. No, your internship is project-based with us at 10Alytics. Now, the advantage you get with being a part of any 10Alytics program is you don't communicate to recruiters that you were learning or you were a learner with 10Alytics. No, you were an employee of 10Alytics. You were a consultant with 10Alytics. If you go to ICMAT's profile on LinkedIn, you would see clear every 10Alytics participant that have gotten a job. And I'll just show you very quickly. And then I'll take the next question from the person that said, once you make payments, there is no additional payments whatsoever. All right? There is no additional payments. You make a payment to join the program. That's all you have to pay. Okay, you don't have to pay for the capstone. You don't have to pay for the internship. You don't have to pay for anything else. All right. I think somebody asked that question. So no, you don't need to make any additional payments. Okay. Yeah, Ifan is also asking, very good question. So what if I want to defer? I can't start in April because I have 1 or 2 commitments, but I want to take advantage of the discount. You can, but you cannot defer beyond 1 month. Okay, you can either start in April or start in May, one of the 2 months. Okay, so if you can't start in April, you must commence your program in May, but you can't, defer beyond 1 month. All right, so I'll show you quickly, practically, because we always like to be very practical. So let me share my other screen this time around. And I'm just simply going to go to ICMAT's profile. All right, you all saw ICMAT, yeah? So let's search for ICMAT. So one of the things you'd see when you go to our participants profile is they were employees with us. And these are the things recruiters want to see, that you have experience working in that role. So you'd see very quickly. Sorry, I'm not sure why this is taking a while to load. Okay, I want to show you something so you'd see very quickly that you both work at 10Alytics. So what does this mean? It means that if you look at ICMAT's experience, She was a data analyst with us. She was not a trainee with us, not at all. All right. If you look at all our participants, Sonia, let's go to Sonia's profile. Sonia currently works with British American Tobacco. So when you look at the slide, all the people that have gotten jobs, go on LinkedIn and do a search, and you'd see Sonia as well was a HR analyst, all right, with 10Alytics. And this is the way you communicate your experience. You've worked with us as a consultant, all right? She's currently with British American Tobacco. Who else can I remember at the top of my head? Let me see, Zainab. Zainab also recently got a job in January in Lagos, Nigeria, as a data manager, all right? You'd also see Zainab's profile, you know, data analyst. So when you get into that room, you tell them that I was a data analyst with 10Alytics. I worked with them as a data consultant, and these were the things I did, and so on and so forth. So they will ask you for a reference, because previous employer references, they'll request for that, and you always come back to us and we provide you with that reference. All our participants, all of them, you'd have a similar, and this is part of the things you learn during your LinkedIn optimization session. So to go back to your question, for the gentleman asked, my internship, you know, how do I, you know, complete the internship? What do I learn? And so on and so forth. Apart from you working in a project-based environment, you also have the opportunity to include 10Alytics as part of your experience. And this is what gives you an edge eventually. Okay. Let me take, I think, one more question before we call it a day. I think I answered the question on the person that was asking if there is any need for additional payments and so on. I think I answered that already. Okay. Let me see. What if one picks May? I think I've answered that too. Can I secure a discount and start in May? Absolutely, you can, Adanu. You can defer 1 month into the future when you join to be a part of the program, okay? Is a capstone project free? Yes, it is 100% free for everybody that has joined our 10Alytics program. Any of the programs, the capstone is free. It's part of the package, all right? Please share the UK account details. So Lydia, if you can share that, but just click on the link. You have all the details in the enrollment center. Okay. Let me take one more question from Ogolua. All right. Well, like I mentioned earlier, just in case I won't be able to take your question here, remember on Tuesday, you will receive, at the end of today's session, receive the slides, receive the recording, and all the material we have used today. You'll receive them, and you'd have a link for you to join the Clarity one-on-one session, where we won't have as many people as we have today. Okay, will the training help? Okay, that's Ogolua's question. So I love this question, Ogolua. So I've asked you to unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask a question, Ogolua, because it's a very important question you want to ask. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, Ogolua.
Please, I wanted to ask if the training will help me get a COS, because I'm currently in Nigeria and I'm looking to relocate outside of the country as soon as possible. So I just wanted to clear that. Because I heard Ikma say that she got a COS, a job with a COS, but I'm wondering, she's already in the UK.
Yeah.
Is that different from when you're in Nigeria and all?
All right. Brilliant,
Thank you.
fantastic. You're welcome, Ogolua. So now what we do is we open you up to all these opportunities available, just like ICMAT, all right? When applying to jobs, you don't just apply to jobs because you want to get a job. There's a strategy to job application depending on what you want to achieve. For somebody like ICMAT, the reason why she joined would probably be different from the reason Chike Vincent would want to join. Correct? ICMAT wanted a sponsored job once she was done with her master's. So she needed a company that would give her the opportunity, that would give her a COS, a certificate of sponsorship, So you need to know the companies that have the license to even sponsor. You need to know the job codes called the NOC codes that fits into the category of job roles that can be sponsored and all of those things. And these are the things we teach you during the Navigating the Job Market session. We hold sessions on that, practical sessions, where to go to check for companies that have the license to sponsor. And not all companies that have the license to sponsor would actually sponsor you. So you need to go back, looking at 2023, for example, how many certificates of sponsorship did this company that I'm trying to get a job with, how many COS did they give out last year? So if you have a company that gave out maybe just 5 COS for the whole of 2023, yes, they have the license, but they're not likely going to get sponsorship because they don't usually give, even though they have the license. So it's an all-encompassing, comprehensive session that we have on that. If you're in Nigeria and you are in the UK, getting the COS is a totally different ballgame. All right. It's a lot easier for you to get it if you're in the UK, but there are ways to also get it if you're in Nigeria. And that's the benefits of you being a part of us. I would walk you through those different aspects, what you should look out for, how to check for those companies that offer you licenses. The NHS, for example, has hired the highest number of 10Alytics participants. I can't even count how many people that have been hired by the NHS. And that's simply because, apart from the fact that the NHS gives certificates of sponsorship, we have also worked a lot with them in terms of understanding their recruitment process, the type of projects, the type of questions that they ask, so we can guide our participants when they have interviews with the NHS. Okay, so we don't give COS. We are not immigration consultants. Okay, we're a data company. We equip you with the skills, but because of our experience in those markets, we know exactly what you need to do to obtain a COS. And we'll walk you through that so you know everything that you need to deploy in that regard. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Ogolu. I just sent a message to the chat if I did. Okay, so again, guys, when you make your payments, okay, when you make your payments, you will receive an automated link. I'm going to share that with you very quickly, all right, because it's very important, because for some of you requesting for the email, if you have this, you really don't even need the email, okay? So when you've made your payments, all right, if you do a direct transfer, take a screenshot as proof of payment. If you pay using the main stack where you enter your card details, you pay with your credit or debit card, you don't really need to go this route because you receive an automated email. But if you do a direct transfer, take a screenshot, all right? Come back to the enrollment center. Okay, come back to the enrollment center. Just give me 1 second. Let me use my other browser so that, yes. So come back to the enrollment center over here and click on this link that says upload your receipts. Okay, so I've done a direct transfer to the Wema Bank account, right? Or I've done a direct transfer to the Pound account. I've taken a screenshot of my payment. You come back here, click on upload your receipts, and it takes you into the registration form. All right, enter your email. Okay, I'm not going to enter all the details because of time. It's quite, you enter your email. What type of payments did you make? Full payment, initial payments. If you made a full payment for the scholarship, you click on full payment, click on next. Enter your first name, enter your last name, enter your email, enter your gender. I want to show you something of how you upload that screenshot that you've taken of the payment you made, right? So let me just enter my details. Oops. Okay, so gender, male, click on next. All right. You have the terms and conditions. Read the terms and conditions. Accept terms and conditions. Click on next. When did you make payments? I made payment today on the 9th of March. You see where to what? Kindly upload your payment receipts. So you see, for those of you that have made a direct transfer, take a screenshot. So here you don't need any email, right? Take a screenshot, come here, click on add file, upload your proof of payment. So let's assume I've made payment already. I simply upload that payment. I'm just going to upload any file here. Okay. I'll upload my payments. What mode of payment did you make? I did a direct transfer. So let's say NGN transfer, direct transfer. Click on next. All right. It was made using my account name, Adeza Suleiman. All right. And this is just for us to confirm your payments easily. Now, which program are you registering for? And these are for those for people that have not been able to select. You're not sure if to go for the data science, if to go for the data engineering. So rather than choosing a program, all you need to do is click on I need to speak with a professional, and we will schedule a call with you to walk you through the process of selecting a program. All right. So we advise that before you even go this route, ensure that you have made your payments, secure the discount, at least first of all. Come to I need to speak with a professional, and we will schedule a session with you, help you select the program. We won't select one for you, but we will guide you based on your experience and your location and so on and so forth. All right. Click on next. I would like to be considered for the IWD discount. Click on yes. Click on next. Your passport picture, of course, because we want to ensure that people that are applying are ladies. Last year we had an instance of somebody who registered, but it was a man. Okay, so eventually he had to give it to his wife instead of himself. So we want to be sure that people that are registering, because we didn't have opportunity for men to register last year. All right, so upload your picture. Okay, there's a 10 megabytes limit. So let me just select any picture so I don't waste any more time. All right, select your picture, upload the picture, click on next. All right, when do you intend to start? Now, these are for the questions. People asking the question, do I start? What if I want to start in May? I don't want to start in April. All you need to do is come here, and instead of choosing April, you choose what? May, 4th of May. So if you have commitments for April and you can't start in April, you can actually start in May. And all you need to do is select that. All right. You fill all the details. You have country of residence. How did you find out about us? You select that, and you are well, on your way to completing and submitting the form. Once you have your proof of payment uploaded, you've uploaded it to this form, you've submitted the form, that's all you need. You've entered all your other details, that's all you need. You don't even need to send us an email. We will confirm your payment and send you a welcome kit. For those that make payments using the main stack link directly without doing a direct transfer, so you made your payments by using your card. Okay, so let's say I want to make a payment of £313. Click on proceed. I enter my full name, my email, my card details, and that's how I make my payments. You don't need to go back to click on upload your receipts. You'd receive the link into your email. So ensure that you provide an active email when making payments, so we receive the email. When filling your phone number, also ensure that you enter a WhatsApp phone number so we can also get in touch with you if there is any need for us to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much what you need, and I hope I've been able to answer a couple of your questions. Do I refill the form for multiple courses? No, you don't need to fill the form for multiple courses. If you've paid for 2 programs, Vincent, from the amount you have paid, we will know you've paid for 2 programs. Select the program, go back. If you want to fill for the other one, go back to fill another form for the second program you have paid for. You want to pay for yourself, for your wife, for your sister, and your brother, and so on. You can always do that, okay? I'll be in the UK by May. That's not a problem, Beamsy. We'll be very happy to work with you when you get into the UK in May. Okay, I think I've pretty much answered as many questions. I don't want to take any more of your time on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday evening. If you are currently in Nigeria, Beamsy, you don't have any issues. All you need to do is send your payments using the account details that we have, as long as you are currently in Nigeria, okay? And when you're filling your phone numbers, ensure that you fill the appropriate phone numbers as well, so we can also get in touch with you if necessary. All right. Like I said earlier, if you have more questions, there are so many other questions I can't take, unfortunately. All right. What I advise you to do, join us on Tuesday. We'll have a session in the afternoon from 2 p.m. West Africa time and also 11 p.m. West Africa time. So it doesn't matter where you are, you'll be able to join that session, okay? And we will answer more questions during the session. It's a clarity session on Tuesday. You'd get the link to indicate interest. So look out for the link in your emails. Look out for the link in your WhatsApp groups if you're in one of our WhatsApp groups, all right? Last thing before we call it a day, follow us across all our channels, social media channels. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook, follow us on X, and also on YouTube, all right? YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'd see Ikmat, her video is there. You'd see Ramat's video is there, and so many other professionals who have been able to transition into the tech ecosystem. And you have a bucket load of people that would serve as inspiration to you to also get your journey started, all right? As I call it a day today, I would say thank you very much for being a part of our session this Saturday. Depending on where you are, we deeply appreciate your participation, and we look forward to seeing you starting your journey on the 6th of April, taking advantage of the scholarship. Remember, it's a month where we are inspiring inclusion of women in tech. 300 women. I am very, very, I would say, rest assured that we will get the 300 women just like we did last year and even surpass. But the most important part is the 50 men would also, not the most important, another important part is the 50 men we also want to work with to serve as advocates, to also help us drive the inclusion. And by doing that, you'd also get to be a part of the scholarship just for 50 men and 300 women. So have a wonderful time, guys. And until we see again in class starting on the 6th of April, have a fantastic time, a fantastic weekend, and cheers, everybody.